6:02, good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Some NFL news coming out yesterday. The Saints running back Alvin Kamara pled no contest to a misdemeanor charge of breach of peace for his involvement in a 2022 fight in Las Vegas, according to court records, opening the doors to NFL discipline. The Saints drafted Kendre Miller with the 71st overall pick in the third round of this year's draft for insurance. NBA has some new rules for you. The NBA Board of Governors has approved 2 new gameplay changes for the 23-24 season. Per sources, an in-game penalty for flopping results in a technical foul free throw, and a second coach's challenge is awarded if the first challenge is successful. And Tennessee had another player drafted yesterday. Right-handed pitcher Bryce Jenkins was drafted by the New York Mets in the 17th round. It's the second consecutive draft the Mets have taken a Tennessee pitcher. They drafted Blake Tidwell in the second round of last year's draft. The Vols have had 8 players drafted. 6 of them have been pitchers. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ready to go on a Wednesday morning as the show goes on for 4 more hours. Welcome to RKW. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. When trust matters, count All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. In beautiful Music City on a Wednesday morning, we've got Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh behind the glass. My name is Will Bowling. It is Wednesday, July the 12th, and the National League are losers no more. How are we doing?
We're good. Well, good morning.
Yeah, 2 straight nights of staying up late does not fare well at all for morning people. I'll tell you that much.
No, not at all. That's one of the drawbacks of the job too. Is those late sports get you.
I'm gonna have 4 straight this week, and it's gonna be a little dicey. That's all right.
How are y'all? Are y'all all going to go to Buck's Split Happens too? Because I'm kind of worried that.
I know you all are. I can't.
I don't know. I might have to miss it, man. I know myself, and I think I would get there and have too much fun. Look down and realize it's 11 o'clock, and I'm not at home, sound asleep in my bed, and something would go off in me. I'm a different person now. I've changed.
I know. I've got other stuff I'm doing.
Split happens.
Split happens.
That's what sucks about these weekday events. Like if it was a Saturday, I'm all in, but I've got other stuff that I have that puts me up to that point, and I'm like, if I went straight to that, I'd be dead for.
Yeah.
There's no way. I know Ramon's on a team.
I am on the team, but I might have to retract. I'm on daddy duties.
Daddy duties?
Yeah.
You sound like you have an infant.
It'll be me and Miles. Keisha's got to go to Bama with RJ.
That's right.
And his practice is from 5 to 7.
What time does it start?
Bucks right after 3HL is done, I think. So 6. So I'm coming from Indy all the way to Cool Springs.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got to tell Savage that's going to be a track.
He could just have you bowl last. You know what I mean?
But even still, the football player kid that's got to shower, eat, all the way out to Cool Springs. Like, I've calculated all this and how I can make it happen. And then, of course, fighting traffic through the city, too. There's no way around it coming from Hendersonville.
It's bad.
I think there's a way that you could go around it, though. You know, you just have a celebrity bowler, somebody who's not on a team, perhaps bowls for you a couple rounds.
Okay.
Just don't let it be Hunk. Because Hunk was, I don't know if you guys were there last year. Hunk was atrocious.
Oh, really?
Was he?
Hunk set the record for the event for most gutter balls in a row, which I think was 10 frames, 20 gutter balls. I don't think he hit one pin the first game.
Well, he was lobbying all yesterday evening so bad. I called into him, was like, y'all got to stop doing Hunk wrong, man. Like, Hunk's looking for a team. Yeah.
You love advocating for people that you feel like aren't being advocated for. Like, I don't know if Hunk wants to be in the same category as Todd Downing, but he is now.
He was begging, though. Was he not, y'all? He was begging to be on the team yesterday, and, like, Brent didn't want him on his team.
In a weird way, he was begging.
Dang.
Yeah, so
I'm not quite sure
I
what
was
that
like,
was.
Hunk, who hurt you? But now that Bert's telling me he's got the record for the most gutter balls, he
There
don't
you go.
deserve to be on the team.
He's been catching a lot of unnecessary strays lately, too. Recently, 3HL's music choices have come into question.
Oh, they have.
And where
I've seen that on Twitter, actually.
I've heard that too.
Now look, I'm not here to tell anybody what they can listen to or what they come back to break with, but also it's not the best choices.
Like, give me an example.
Let me do some digging. But he always has like there's a new country song that I keep hearing. We have a country station adjacent to us, and it's like spending my time and all of my money. He picks songs that are very wordy.
Wasted on you.
There you go.
Morgan Wallen.
I'm glad you knew. Oh, that's why
There
I
it
despise it. I don't know what it is.
Like Morgan Wallen?
The sound of that guy's voice just gives me mean white trash. I have no problem with white trash. I am a big proponent of white trash. I was born in it. Y'all were simply molded by it. I was born in white trash. But something about that dude's voice gives me mean white trash, like spit beach nut in your eye white trash. So I don't know. I'm out on Morgan Wallen until he does something nice for some youngins or some animals or something.
Like 4 broke down cars in the front yard, more like trash is what you're saying.
Get out my yard. But it's like, dude, you haven't mowed this thing. It looks like a jungle out here. And he's, ding, he's got a spittoon out there.
I don't know. It's country sometimes. It is random, but then there's like some old school like rap. That there's a couple songs that I was singing along with, but then there was a couple that I'm like, where is this coming from?
It's a weird mix.
Like, it's very eclectic.
Interesting.
The pit of unused music is where he's going to.
I don't know what it is. Or an old, what do you guys keep those in? The libraries, I guess? Music libraries?
When we come back from break next segment, I'll bump back with a classic Hunk selection, and you guys can tell me whether it's good music or not.
And what's crazy, he's trying to commit to being on a bowling team, but he also has his streaming that I guess he's back to doing, and he does that at Third and Home.
Yeah.
He can't even go
His podcast.
to King's Bowling. So he's volunteering for a game for a team that he can't even be at. Like he said, well, I'll make it work. You can't helicopter from the Sound Stadium all the way out to King's Bowling every time you got to run.
Unless you're real rich.
Unless you're a part of the Secession family, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's absolutely no way.
You finished it yet, by the way?
No, I got busy yesterday.
Okay.
I'm really
Let me know.
not wanting to finish it too because I'm like, God, what's next after this? I heard Veep was good.
I have
haven't heard
options
Veep.
for you.
I haven't seen Veep.
I've got options for you.
You got options for me? Okay, it's just one of those. Like I'm like
The Bear is what you're watching next.
The Bear.
The Bear.
Solid.
That's the Chicago.
It'll take you a week.
Okay.
restaurant.
2 seasons, 20 minutes each on average. One of them's an hour, but that's
Okay.
more like a movie.
Because
And
like
the guest stars are crazy.
I'm sandbagging Righteous Gemstones right now. Like I got one in the chamber right now. Yeah. That I'm waiting
That's
to
easy
watch.
to go through, though.
And that is a good show to wait on because the episodes are so short.
Yeah.
And they always leave you on a cliffhanger.
I know.
Like every time it's like somebody
that's
giving
why.
you one rib.
Yeah.
It's like, can I have a rack? Like
Yeah.
I need more than just one rib.
Give me a half a racket, please, man. At least. But yeah, that one and buddy of mine told me Veep was solid too. I thought it
What
was
is
pretty
that
good.
one about?
It's an HBO show too.
Politics.
Julie
Politics?
Louis-Dreyfus,
Oh, Julie
the woman
Louis.
from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Okay.
She won a ton of awards for it. I've only seen clips and stuff, but it seems very funny.
She's good.
She's very smart too. So.
Yeah.
The Bear will be up against Succession. I think Emmy nominations come out today, actually. The Bear will be the Succession's main competition
It's for Emmys.
for
Which is-
all the Emmys. And then so will The Last of Us with Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. I do recommend that one as well on HBO.
one?
The Last of Us.
Yeah, I've
only
seen it.
one
I got it
season.
saved on my list.
It's only one season.
Okay.
Excellent show.
I want to deep dive into Yellowstone, but it's so many
if
episodes.
you're gonna do that,
Yellowstone lost me.
you got to wait till next summer. I feel
For
like
real?
'cause
Classic
that's
fall
a lot.
off. It just fell off
It got
so hard.
way too outrageous on just things that would genuinely never, ever happen.
Kind of like Shameless. Like Shameless was
I
great
know,
for the
I
first
love
4
Shameless.
seasons, and then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, Frank's robbing
I
banks and
know.
tanks, and it's like, how did any of this happen? They're all so poor. Like, how did this happen?
And then she got cut from the show.
Yeah, well, she wanted too much money, and they're like,
Yeah.
look, Fiona can
And Fiona
can
was
beat
like
it.
the grab
Oh,
there.
wow.
Yep.
Spoiler alert.
So it really got crazy on those types of shows. Did it go on for too long? How many seasons?
Sometimes it does go
Okay.
on.
I think it's still going on, honestly.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I haven't seen a finale for Shameless, and like that was something I was watching in college too.
Me too. Well,
Shameless.
not college, but yeah, a long time ago.
Huh.
And Dexter even went on like one season too
Yep.
long.
Dexter
I
too?
loved Dexter.
I heard people rave about Dexter.
It's a great
though.
show. It's
Okay.
a great show, but it went on one season too long, I think.
So the difference between me and most sane people, because again, I'm not a smart person, is that if I don't like a show, I'll keep watching it. Like I will finish Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Like I hate starting a show and then not totally finishing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless it's really bad, like the first few episodes, I just can't. Then I'm just like, I'm done. But
If I'm-
usually I
yeah.
can't stop.
If I'm
you-
3 seasons in, I might as well just finish it.
Yeah.
Y'all dived into the Night Agent. Just had a buddy of mine text me. It was like Night
Never heard of
Agent
it.
on Netflix is supposed to be pretty good
Night
too.
Agent?
The Night Agent.
Oh,
Gotta Check
okay.
that out too.
Did your buddy direct that or something? Like, you trying to give him a secret plug for
Nah,
it?
I didn't. It was just, hey, no, just like suggestions, okay? I'm fielding crowd questions here, man.
615-737-1045, our number. We will sample a little bit of 3HL bump music coming back and hear what all the fuss is
Thrilled.
about for Todd Hunkapillar Downing. 615-737-1045. Coming up this morning in hour 2, Rhett Bryan joins us. Looking forward to talking with him and going through, I told Ramon this before the show, guys. One of my most memorable moments as a Titans fan of watching one specific game when I was a kid. And I'm so excited to relive the call on Titans radio. So we talk with Rhett Bryan for our weekly visit with him early this morning at 7 o'clock. Scout meeting Wednesday, the Indianapolis Colts under the microscope from one Ramon Foster at 8:20. And we're joined by Lucas Panzica, who's going to pop in a little bit early, talk a little bit of split happens, a little bit of locking Buck out of his own studio yesterday, and a little bit of Nashville SC as they take on Philadelphia Union tonight at Geodis Park with Lucas at 9:20. But coming up next, guys, I have an irrational hatred in sports, but on this one, I promise you, I know it's irrational. I know it's irrational. Coming up next on our own Caitlin Will.
Buying a diamond if you're not properly educated is hard. If you're not careful, you can overpay big time. Small variations in diamonds quality spec can make a huge difference in its value. That's why I always recommend Genesis Diamonds. Genesis Diamonds education is second to none. They will teach you the secrets of the industry. They will explain how diamonds are priced on the world market. Their non-commissioned experts will make you a savvy buyer even if you decide to shop somewhere else. These days, that is so important, especially if you're considering buying a lab-grown diamond. Let Genesis reveal the real truth behind the recent trend and show you all the information on how lab-growns are being overpriced in so many places. Bottom line, Genesis is your source for the best information as well as the best value, both natural and lab-grown diamonds. Whether you're buying a diamond for the first time or upgrading to a large, rare, investment-grade diamond, Genesis will make sure you don't make a mistake. Genesis Diamonds, where the focus is always on honesty, transparency, education, quality, and value. Don't buy a diamond until you learn the ins and outs from Genesis. Located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Wednesday morning on a mode, Kayla Will, and it's can't even keep a straight face. It's powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. What in the world am I listening to, Robert?
This is Rub You the Right Way by Johnny Gill.
So, all right, I'm going to make a statement that a lot of people probably aren't going to like, but I feel like Joe's music taste for 3HL is like, it's like the standard basic, I am a Caucasian producer of a sports radio show, and this is the music I feel like I have to play. Like old, like Bruce Springsteen. It's like when Andy Bernard goes and skates at the skate center. He's like, deep tracks only.
Yeah.
I want the boss.
Deep tracks only.
And then it's just like the most commonly known hit.
I feel like it's the amalgamation of all of the hosts on 3HL, but with a hunk twist to it.
That's exactly.
With a mohawk.
So it's like Brent likes like 80s and 90s hip hop, so it's like a little bit of that, and then he like whatever Dawn likes, like
some up-tempo
Liza
music.
Minnelli or something.
Up-tempo music, probably.
Something aggressive.
Yeah.
And I mean that with the utmost respect.
And then I'll finish it off. He picks Johnny Gill because black artist for Ron.
Is Johnny Gill from the 80s?
Yeah, he is.
I'm like, that sounds like an 80s ballad.
It is. Early 90s.
Ramon literally
Yeah.
said these people.
No, New Jack Swing is what it was.
Okay, because I was like, that just the intro reminded me of the 80s.
Yeah, I know Johnny Gill, but like, you're right. He's tapping every host on their show with music like this. That's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to appease everybody.
Johnny Gill sounds like a Cartoon Network show that I wouldn't have watched as a kid.
Johnny
Johnny
Gill, man.
It's
Bravo?
like he's a super fighting fish. Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on the Cartoon Network. It's Johnny Gill.
Isn't there Johnny Bravo? Isn't that
There
a
is,
character?
absolutely.
Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
Do the monkey with me. Hey, pretty mama.
Hey,
never
bro, I
watched.
used to love that cartoon. People used to say that cartoon was bad.
I wasn't so were you more like, what was your channel you watched as a kid?
I watched Cartoon Network some.
Nickelodeon.
But I was I was a Looney Tunes guy. I wasn't a huge big like Nickelodeon. Like when they got past all that, like I wasn't really a Nickelodeon kid. Like after
Nickelodeon
that.
was prime when I was growing up.
Nickelodeon was the main one for me. Well, Disney Channel was the main one for me. But that's more the era I grew up
Disney.
in. The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Nope.
Wizards of
think we
Waverly
had
Place
Disney.
when Selena Gomez started her career.
Nope.
Well, maybe we did have Disney. I can't remember.
Drake and Josh was the
Nope.
best one, though, on Nickelodeon.
You could get cartoons, though, basics on Saturday on network.
I was yeah, you
So,
could.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you could get up
absolutely.
Saturday morning and watch the basic channels and get it.
I was Looney Tune Cartoon Network and some Nickelodeon early stage Nickelodeon before they went like more sitcoms, like even more
Right.
sitcoms when
Yeah.
they were doing skit stuff. I was
Yeah.
Nickelodeon.
Something that kids don't get now. I bet every single one of us remember the channels that Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network came on. For me, it was
37,
24 and 60. And now kids will never have to remember and you would go to like your grandparents' house who maybe live out of state and you're like, dadgummit, I got to find all the new channels again. Where's the TV guide at?
We would
hate
do
that.
yeah,
I
it
do
was
too.
channel 11 was ESPN. That was the first one. 25 was I had a good little run in the 20s. 25 was Disney Channel, 26 was Cartoon Network, 27 was CSS or Peachtree TV on weeknights for Braves games. 28 was Fox Sports South. That's what Braves games would come on weekends back when they had a split. Where Chip and Joe would call them on weekdays, and then John Shambi and Joe would call them on weekends on Fox Sports South.
Yeah.
And then 29 was ESPN2. 37 was Nickelodeon.
My love of radio came thanks to Channel 44 when they used to show clips of Howard Stern on E. And I would have to have like you used to be able to hit the button for the previous channel. So
Yeah.
I would have Disney Channel on the previous. So if they had something raunchy up, I could like quickly hit it. So if my mom walked in, she wouldn't be like, "Why are you watching like a hot dog launcher?" Like you could be like, "No, I'm watching Lizzie McGuire. I swear."
You were the only kid ever who was switching back and forth between Howard Stern and Disney Channel.
Yeah,
Weird man.
I remember watching some Stern as a kid too. Like when it was on, because I was like, "Who's the black lady on there?" Like that was like, no, seriously, I was like, "What is this dynamic right here?" And then his slow talking conversations that he would have, it would like really just draw you in. It's like, okay, I guess I got to listen to your whole sentence now.
He'd be doing a great interview with somebody. He'd have Hulk Hogan on, and Hulk's talking about how he had all these back issues, and then all of a sudden he's like, "We're gonna play a game real quick, Hogan. We're gonna bring out all of my producers. How many of these guys do you think you could take at once?" Like he would just get. It would be so deep, and then it would just go off the wall. I loved it.
Oh, geez.
Is he still on?
He is still on.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Signed an extension last year.
Wow. How old is he? He's got to be 70.
Yeah.
He's
Which
got to
is
be one of those
nuts.
guys who's like older than everyone thinks he is.
Oh, yeah.
He wears enough sunglasses where like you don't really know
That's true.
what's going on back there.
Is Beetlejuice still part of his crew?
Beetlejuice
69
passed
years
away.
Huh?
Really?
Very nice.
Y'all lying.
No, Beetlejuice passed away. He's no longer a part of the Whack Pack.
Oh,
Was
man.
he older than Howard?
No, I think he just had some health issues.
I legitimately
stinks.
didn't know that. Like, because he has a viral clip right now. It's like, what you doing? None. You know him looking around. It's like,
Beetlejuice is still alive, bro.
yeah.
Oh, God.
Who am I thinking? of?
Ramon did this the other.
Yeah. Why
Ramon
are
did this a few months ago
Robert's trying
with
to
the online coach for the Browns.
declare people dead who are alive and well on a Wednesday morning at 6:30.
Could have
Don't worry,
swore he was
Bert.
dead.
He's only
done this a few times.
55.
Apologize, Bert.
Hey,
He's
Beetlejuice, that's my fault,
Beetlejuice.
man.
He celebrated his
Beetlejuice.
55th birthday a month ago.
Oh, no. Andrew in the chat's like,
Wow.
R.I.P. Beetlejuice.
That's my fault, man. I'm thinking of Bigfoot.
Andrew, he's alive.
Bigfoot is dead. Bigfoot has passed away.
Who is Bigfoot?
He's Bigfoot. He sounds like this. He's from the hills of Minnesota. He's Bigfoot.
It's not just
Wow.
me. It's not just me.
Now we got
Dang, man, I'm supposed to be a sternthology expert,
I'm
man.
worried
I'm
I'm
over here
next.
killing Beetlejuice.
Kayla and I are the only ones
Oh,
left
shoot.
who haven't killed off somebody we're not supposed to yet.
Don't come to the dark side.
This morning on Ramon, Kayla and Will, Robert Walsh, a producer of a very successful radio program, has killed
Beetlejuice.
a character on a very popular other radio show.
Just
Full
headlines
film tonight at 10.
trending on Twitter. Why is this trending? Why is Beetlejuice trending?
Okay.
Dang,
well.
man, I'm better than that, man.
What do you have to say to yourself?
I apologize. Beetlejuice, if you're listening, man, I always loved when they were like,
He probably
Beetlejuice,
is.
what does this spell? R-E-D. And Beetlejuice would go, fire truck. He could
That's
never
awesome.
spell or do math, but
Beetlejuice, what is R.I.P.?
What's crazy?
dang, Kayla's slamming me this morning.
People in the chat talking about some RIP. Like, they believed you, man. I can't believe this.
With great power comes great responsibility, and no one should ever give me either one of those.
I love it.
What we should honestly do is, Robert, you should keep playing the bad music, and then we should take an over and under on when we get the first angry caller that our music is terrible.
Yes.
Man, I've done a really big job. You talked about there is a thing producers fight with trying to be stereotypical, and I've built in where people just automatically assume that I have great musical taste.
Yeah.
So I'm crashing my my reverence here for me, but I'll do it for the show. I'll do it for the show.
Yeah, you're going to be like, coming up, it's Van Halen's Jump. Like,
No,
wow,
that's
that's
the
never been
perfect
played on a
one.
radio show before.
Shane on Twitter says he believes it was Eric, the smaller person.
Eric the actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like
all
to use-
small people
I
now.
don't like-
They
Yeah.
just used to have some offensive names for people that they
Yep.
hence changed. His name is now Eric the actor, or was R.I.P. Eric. Hopefully, I'm not killing off somebody else.
Sure.
I was like, Beetlejuice just went viral like that new clip. It's just nobody told me about this except for Bert.
Great.
Me and Bert out here,
great.
boy.
All right, well, I've got an irrational hatred that I was reminded of last night that I know is irrational. In fact, I know most hatreds I have are irrational.
Yeah.
I really like the MLB All-Star Game. It's the most traditional All-Star game.
Yeah.
I told you before, I don't think you were here for this part, but the coolest thing about the MLB All-Star Game to me is the introductions. Every single player lines up on the first and third base line, gets introduced to the crowd. You either get booed, you get chants of come to Seattle, which we'll get to in a couple minutes when it comes to one player, which was interesting. And it's cool. You get managers, you get the whole pageantry of it, I think is really, really nice. Same thing with the NBA All-Star Game. I love the intros. Like, that's just a thing for me. I hate so much that they do not wear their own jerseys anymore. These jerseys they wear now are monstrosities. They are terrible. They must be stopped at all costs. MLB jerseys have come a long way.
Yeah.
They're finally, like, I think pretty cool, some of the alternate looks that teams get. The best part of the MLB All-Star Game was it was the only game where you could have everyone wear their own home jersey or their own away jersey, and it wasn't confusing. Because, I mean, you could have two teams wear the same colors in baseball, and it wouldn't be confusing. It's not like you're going to throw it to the batter who just tried to, leg out a double. You're not going to throw it to him because he didn't have a glove on. Like, it's pretty easy to know who is on your team and who is not on your team. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it's the guy with a glove and a hat if you're on defense. So I hate this so much, and it made me enjoy the game less.
The jerseys yesterday?
You can't let that get you.
100%.
No,
Why?
100%. I know it's irrational. I started this whole thing off with, I know it's probably a dumb opinion, but I don't care because it's my opinion.
But why would it not allow you to just get rid of that thought 2 innings in at least and be like, okay, I'm going to enjoy the game now?
Well, it's like watching Oregon State, the Civil War, and it's just I have to wear sunglasses because there's so much stupid neon orange and neon green. And I know people probably say that about Tennessee.
I don't think Oregon State does that much.
Oh, they do.
But I thought yesterday was like were they paying homage to like the Mariners colors? Kayla, yesterday?
Yes, they did.
Which the Mariners colors are great.
Yeah.
I have no issue with the colors.
Yeah.
I actually thought the green jersey was fine.
Yeah.
It's this like weird navy on black. And last year in Colorado, they were infinitely worse.
Well, they wore what the problem was that I noticed, I'm okay with the tops and the helmets, by the way.
Yeah.
I thought the mat was cool. I don't like mixing navy and black. So, and
I agree.
I didn't like the white with it was too much of a difference with the white and the teal too. So, I didn't like the matching coordination of the pants, the baseball pants and the tops. I thought that was off, completely off. That's just from my eyes. I didn't mind the tops, but the pants were distracting from both sides.
Neither one of them registered to me. I definitely get what you're saying. Yeah, the navy and black situation right there.
work.
Yeah, I get you on that one, but it's cool in the Northwest, so they could wear black, I guess. I don't know what was the significance of the black pants. They should have just did blue all the way down or the green all the way down. I like the jerseys. I think it was last year where they had the red, white, and blue ones too, if I'm not mistaken. I actually like those too.
I like the color scheme except for the bottom half.
Except for the bottom half? I thought it was awesome.
And I did like it. Ronald Acuna Jr. always does this, but he accents a lot.
Yeah, he does.
And I actually did like the accents he brought to the table. But I'm like I like flair and I like different colors. But I always like the little color scheme with the teal and stuff. And
is this all-star games, though?
It
like
is
NBA,
now.
too?
No, well, baseball, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that baseball is unique where you can wear the same color as the other team or close to it, and it's not confusing.
Yeah.
Like in basketball, that would be difficult because if you see someone who's wearing, like, you have light gray and they have white, you might accidentally pass it to them because you think that they're on your team.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I understand where you come from.
And it's hard for the viewer, too.
So let me ask you this, too.
Less for the player, more for the viewer.
One thing I've learned about you and your Braves, is y'all are adamant about your colors, your team, all things. Is this like a Braves things where, like, I want to see Atlanta out there? Like, show me the red, white,
every
and blue.
team out there.
Okay, it's not just the Braves.
No.
And I say that in all due respect when I say that. Like Braves fan, I found out a prideful about the Braves.
The thing that is cool about baseball is that everyone has the same colors for their home jersey and their road jersey. So you still had white versus gray, but you had everyone's own logos and branding on the uniforms themselves.
It's fair.
So like the gray for the Yankees is the same as the gray for the Red Sox. And you would have them playing next to each other, wearing rival uniforms that look very similar.
Yeah, I don't know why they went to all of that. I'm okay with it for the most part. I don't care. I mean, again, I don't like the mixture of the pants and tops this year, but I don't even know why they really went away from that.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, when I saw them first thing, I said, "Oh man, that's super cool." They're doing it after the Mariners colors. And I, as a kid, Griffey, of course.
Oh, the colors are dynamic.
Yes, between him, Ichiro, even A-Rod. I remember playing King Griffey Jr. baseball, and I didn't even know who A-Rod was, like really knew who he was, and he was crushing it on Griffey on N64.
I think like him, Edgar Martinez were out there. It's just crazy childhood memories, like for some of us who were Mariners fans growing up who didn't see a lot of success after Griffey Jr. left.
Fair.
And had a stud like Ichiro for so long, too. And Randy Johnson.
And Randy,
Did Randy get a ring in Texas? I think, didn't. I think Randy won one.
But Diamondbacks.
Yeah, Diamondbacks.
Was that correct?
Yeah.
Got a ring with them?
Hitting the research department over
When he
here
was
in a
hitting the
minute.
birds over there?
Believe that's correct. Yeah, he has one ring.
He has
Yeah.
one ring, yes.
The big unit.
The big unit. 6'10", isn't he?
Dude, that man is big and ugly.
Oh.
Big and ugly.
6'38", Robert.
He really is. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's just he's a heck of an athlete, and man, he had a career, and he's a photographer now, props up. But man,
Keep reeling
He's
me back
blessed
in.
with a lot of things, and looks were not one
he's
of them.
got a beautiful daughter who plays volleyball.
She looked like her dad.
Nope. That's why I said beautiful.
The jerseys, by the way, I'm referencing, Kayla, just
Yes.
looking these up, were when they did the helmets with the neon orange on the face mask, where they did like the stripe down the middle
Oregon
of the
State?
face mask, and it was
I'll
like
look it up.
neon green versus orange.
Look, the
too
Beavers
much.
never needed to do that because I think sometimes, like we are with Washington, we feel like the step kids. We are the step kids. Let's just admit it, right? Oregon
Yeah.
State to Oregon, Washington State to. And so, Oregon, I feel like sometimes Oregon State needs to like do big things. No, stick to your normal orange and black jerseys. That's great. Do it like all black.
Let
but
it ride.
don't do don't try to be like Oregon. They're despicable.
Coming up, the chant at the beginning of this game was very interesting, and Seattle may have started a trend yesterday in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game where my National League finally won. I don't really care, but the
That
National
was
League did.
actually big.
Coming up on our mode, Kayla and Will.
It's Ramon and Kayla for Window Nation, and it's here. The heat, the humidity, scorching, sweaty temps, the hot temps forcing your AC into overdrive, leading to high energy bills. The solution? New windows from Window Nation. Our friends, Kayla, where you can save thousands a day with no money down, no payments, and pay no interest for 2 years. Plus, Window Nation to give you 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. So protect and increase the value of your home today by calling them at 866-90Nation or going online to windownation.com.
And, you know, when we all grow up and we get houses or we're building a house, it's not the first thing you necessarily want to spend your money on, right, is windows. You're like, man, that's not fun. But guess what? It will be fun in the long run because you're saving money. You're going to save up to 30% on your energy bills because you know you're pumping the AC here in the summer and you know you're pumping the heat during the winter in Middle Tennessee. So you can increase the value of your home by up to $12,000. And guess what? I know your neighbors over there in Hendersonville going, we're jealous of that. So that means you got to get in on this deal now. Like we said, it's 000 for 2 years, and you can't really get anything that compares to this. No money down, no payments, no interest for 2 full years. Like Ramon said, if you get those 2 windows now, and you might as well get it over with before we get into the winter months, you can get 2 for free. So go ahead, give our friends at Window Nation a call. That's 866-90Nation, or just check them out online, windownation.com.
It's RKW powered by all four seasons garage doors. This is the end of our 3HL music tour. This is the end.
Wow.
I'm calling it.
This was a karaoke I did 500 years ago.
Call it. I was in this musical, though, a long time ago.
I was too. I love Grease.
This is what Joe Heasy
But
is
this
playing.
is not radio music. This is not for morning radio.
Oh, God.
See, I usually
Afternoon.
listen on YouTube,
Can't
so they
do
can't
it.
play the music on there.
Lucky you.
Joe Heasy, what is wrong with you, dog?
All of the good that the Buck Rising show is doing and having Paramore Mondays is undone by Monday at 3. Or at 3:12, I guess, the first time music on 3HL plays.
I can't believe.
Look, this is a
Joe
great
Heasy.
song. Do not get me wrong.
Yeah.
Olivia Newton-John, John Travolta, but my goodness, can't do it on radio.
What is he channeling right here?
Bad.
Oh, my goodness.
What is he channeling? Joe Heasy, what we got going on, baby?
I think he just likes to cast a wide net because when I tell you the catalog in here is diverse, it takes me a while to even scroll down. Like I've only gone to the J's, but I feel like my fingers already tired from going that far.
Okay.
There was a time when I first started working here, I would come in and Hunk would be uploading new music, and it would be like 15 songs at a time he would be
Goodness
loading in here.
sakes.
So
wow.
the 3HL catalog, there are good songs in there. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
He just don't know how to pick them.
There's some that I've heard that are good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so what is his batting average? He's like Hall of Fame status, or he's
no,
just
Hall of Fame. No.
okay. All right. Okay.
Not. I would say, mid-level.
So-
sometimes below.
On the log right now of just like, I have
okay.
like a one screen that I can see.
Okay,
So
me too.
here are the artists. I'm just going to run through for you here. That say 3HL music on them.
great.
Judas Priest,
Yep.
Juicy J, Wiz Khalifa, Ty Dolla $ign,
Okay. All right.
love
okay.
that.
Okay.
Sir Mix-a-Lot,
Oh, come on.
Baby got back.
Cool in the Gang,
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Justin Timberlake,
Jeez.
Fair.
and Kanye West.
That's all over the place.
That's all over the place.
Yeah,
It
which
really is.
you're going to get canceled if you play too much Kanye now.
I mean,
Yeah.
straight up at this point.
Like,
Straight up.
like
Yeah.
actually.
I don't even know what
The
he
only
got
thing that
going on
is
right
missing
now.
is what? Country on there?
Yeah, and he's got plenty of country
Oh, yeah.
in the list, for sure. But we won't know those artists anyway. so
Ron
it's a
at
good
Slay
thing
in the
those weren't on
F&M
there.
Bake Chat says, y'all are hard on Hunk. LOL.
No, it ain't us. We tried to. At least I know. I called in trying to
I
advocate for
heard you
Hump
call in
You heard-
yesterday. I absolutely did.
Me and my son was sitting in the car. I was like, Dad, they're mistreating him. he didn't say that. I ain't gonna tell the story.
Mistreating coworkers, 6 to 10. Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
We were trying to find him a team. They said it's pretty much. I think it's determined right now. Hadley, Bab's daughter,
Yeah.
will bowl before Hump does.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Hadley's ready, and she's, Dawn's putting her in golf lessons.
This is what I'm saying.
Really?
She's ready to go. She's
Heck
playing
yeah.
soccer right now.
Love that.
And Bert, I think Savage missed your announcement about Joe Heasy's bowling game. You want to let him know?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, since I don't know if Slay was there last year, but the gutter balls were flowing last year. They were frequent and they were coming fast, and they were also going in other lanes. I mean, his balls multiple times left the lane that they were supposed to be in. But also, I get Slade defending him, but it's kind of like that big brother moment where it's like, oh, y'all can't make fun of him. I can make fun of
Yeah,
him.
that's right.
Only I can
100%.
make fun of him.
Sure.
You know this music stinks, Slade. You know this music's not good.
The gutter balls were flowing like fine wine.
The one area that I will defend Joe in is that they also won't let him play on their golf tournament team.
Dang.
They got to let him
Oh,
play in one or the other.
geez.
Like, if you're not going to let the guy play on your golf tournament team, Brent Doherty and Mr. Babs and that entire crew, and their point is that everyone on their team is really good. Like, you've got one of our boss's husbands, I believe, was the story. You've got Brent. You've got Mr. Babs, and then there's someone
good.
else on the team, and they are good.
Ron's usually on the team.
Okay, there you go. I didn't know which team Slay was playing on.
So,
Yeah, at that point, like you gotta then get Joe, because I think Joe actually is a pretty good golfer.
Throw him a freaking bone.
why
him a
don't we
driver.
do a celebrity softball tournament? Because Joe played baseball. Joe's a
And he'd be a high
baseball guy.
pick.
Strong.
I feel like we're all we could do that. But Joe could shine.
He could.
He could
I'm a
shine.
Gold Glove softball player.
Get Kayla trying to polish Joe up. He's more than this.
Nothing.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like
Ain't
this is
nothing,
more
Kayla.
disrespectful to him than just making fun of him.
You're right.
Like, getting your heart blessed is worse than just being roasted. Like, at least care enough about me to roast me. Don't bless my heart.
I heard that when they go out to eat, they make Joe eat under the table.
All right.
Oh, God.
They don't even let him
All right.
sit at the table with them.
Joe, we
I
love
hope
you.
you're not listening. We love you.
We do love you.
We do
And
love you, Joe.
no
You're the man.
R.I.P. to Joe.
When we make fun of Joe, it's because we love him. When we make fun of
Yes.
Buck, it's because we don't.
There we go.
615-737-1045.
Sums it all up.
I'm kidding, I think. Last night when Shohei Ohtani stepped into the batter's box, Kayla, I think Seattle Mariners fans started a trend.
Yeah.
They chanted, "Come to Seattle" to
Yeah.
Shohei
Of course they did.
at T-Mobile Park. And I think this is going to be a thing that happens now the rest of the season.
Yeah. And you know what? Rightfully so. Look, Seattle has a great population, right, of Asian people, Asian Americans who come over there. And you know how Ichiro was just beloved and still to this day is beloved in Seattle. And I'm sure they look at Shohei and, I mean, could you imagine if they were ever to have a chance with Shohei? And I do feel like the Mariners are getting to the point of being competitive again. It would be incredible. I love how Seattle fans were chanting that, though, because I'm like, just to get under the skin, too, of those Anaheim Angel fans.
You heard some of that
LA
12th
Angel, excuse
man
me.
crowd in that stadium, Kayla.
It was good.
Because you don't get a lot of recognition up north, up in the Northwest, because we're just so far, right? We're far removed. And I've lived here for 7 years now. I barely can catch up with what's going on up there. So when things like this come there, those fans take full advantage of the moment. They love sports there.
The spotlight was big, and that crowd.
They embraced
I don't
it.
know if there's a better crowd in the last few years. Usually, All-Stars are
All-Star
good.
games are always good
They're
crowds
really
in
good.
baseball.
It seemed like Seattle crowd just came together to be like, yeah, we're in this thing. Y'all gonna see us.
We got J-Rod. Let's get Shohei up there. Can you imagine?
You like a better J-Rod with Shohei than Trout with Shohei? Trout's generational though too.
Yeah,
so.
I just don't. Trout's not going anywhere, and Shohei I think would just fit up there. I think he'd be embraced
Oh my.
on all levels.
Angels come to Atlanta in like a month.
Yeah,
And the Braves have been named as a dark horse team
That might be
for
good.
Ohtani.
look at
Could
that.
you imagine?
You
Have the
going?
two best players in baseball?
You
It'd
going?
be crazy. I don't know. I don't know what
This is
specific
a
weekend
weekend.
it
You
is.
gotta make that one.
I don't know.
We'll
We'll see.
Heck,
Those
I
games
gotta
are
look
so
at my
fun.
schedule. That might be do it for real. Will.
That might be do it.
Coming up, Rhett Bryan
look that
joins
up.
us for his weekly visit on the program. My favorite moment as a Titans fan as a kid when we come back. Plus, an instant classic that was 23 years ago and another that was a lot more recent than that. As we continue on our own, Caitlin and Will.
What the heck's going on? Good morning. 7:01 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. The Saints running back Alvin Kamara pled no contest to a misdemeanor charge of breach of peace for his involvement in a 2022 fight in Las Vegas, opening the door to NFL discipline. The Saints drafted Kendre Miller with the 71st overall pick in the third round of this year's NFL draft for insurance, just in case Alvin Kamara face suspension. Some rule changes in the NBA. The Board of Governors has approved 2 new rule changes for gameplay in 2023 season. An in-game penalty for flopping results in a technical foul free throw, and a second coach's challenge will be awarded if the first challenge is unsuccessful. And in college baseball, Tennessee had another pitcher drafted in the MLB draft. Bryce Jenkins was drafted by the New York Mets in the 17th round. It's the second consecutive draft where the Mets have taken a Tennessee pitcher. They drafted Blake Tidwell in the second round of last year's draft. And don't forget, Split happens Thursday, happening right after 3HL. I have pulled one Joseph Hunkapiller statistics. Through 10 frames, Joe hit 2 pins, 11 gutter balls, and his strike percentage was 0. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Into hour number 2 on your Wednesday morning. The show goes on for 60 minutes, 3 more times. Right here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville as we visit with the one and only executive producer of Titans Radio. He is Rhett Bryan. Here with Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh. I'm Will Bowling. Good morning, Rhett.
Good morning. How are we?
We got energy this morning.
Oh, I can tell. And Joe Hunk is in a ditch somewhere.
Hey, Bert, can I hit the horns real quick? I just got to announce it, and then I'm done. I'm done, okay?
Give him some fanfare there.
Just a smidge.
Dadgummit, where are these daggum horns at?
Robert, be careful. We're going to start going after you this hard. If
boy.
We'll do it live, Bert. There we go.
There we go.
Too many buttons.
In this calendar year, I've gone 0 for 3. My vouchers publicly have not done well, okay?
Facts.
Todd Downing, I stood on the soapbox for him publicly, okay? Hassan Haskins, I stood on that soapbox publicly about it. And Joe Heasy trapped me yesterday, okay?
Joseph Hunkapiller.
Hunkapiller. Joe Heasy, I even gave you a nickname. Listen, my vouchers are done.
Expired.
I'm officially out of vouchers from here on out, okay?
Yep.
Not good.
If I say anybody's good, don't listen to me anymore, okay?
No.
I'm done. Don't ask me to advocate for you anymore.
I will be the accountability friend and say, Ramon, wait a minute. Remember the last 3?
Yep.
You're out of vouchers.
I got to start paying in blood after this, huh? I'm done. I'm cooked. I just had to announce
You just got to decide which one you want, left or right kidney that you can live without.
Joe made me believe yesterday. Joe, you ain't nothing. I'm calling in again to talk bad. So when is trash talk? Was it Trash Talk Friday? I'm calling in today to trash talk you, Joe. You made me believe nothing.
Wow.
Trash getting picked up on Wednesday, y'all.
Yeah.
That's my announcement. I'm done. No more vouchers from me.
Thank you.
Yep, that's it. I'm off my
There you go.
soapbox.
Well, Kayla, it's a good thing we haven't gone over to his house to eat any barbecue or steaks or anything, because then we would have been vouched by Ramon Foster.
That's right.
That too.
Forgot about that. It's almost been a year now.
It has. What? Now I got to do something to redeem myself. I got to cook a massive feast. Is what's next.
And you got to buy all the food without any vouchers.
There it is. We'll swoop it in there this morning. Yeah, y'all got the juice this morning. Y'all are rolling. At the expense of Joe Hunk, but I mean, hey, whatever it takes some days, I guess.
We are rolling, and we are, Rhett, about to roll into one of my favorite highlights ever in the history of Titans football.
So for Scout Meeting Wednesday, and thank y'all for being accommodating to let me come on in the 7 o'clock hour because our lovely sales staff, we're doing some Titans radio training at 8:30 this morning, so that would have been a little conflict of time.
Yes.
And the focus is the Indianapolis Colts.
There we
That's
go.
right.
Love it.
That drop lives forever.
Robert was ready
I
that
did
time.
do that. That's right. They played 57 times. The Colts and the Titans have played each other 57 times in the series. And because of all of the years where they swept the series, the Colts lead at all time 35-22. But lately it's been a different story. We'll get to that in a minute. The first one that I wanted to go down memory lane on, as by the way, Titans training camp first practice 2 weeks from today.
Let's get it.
Really that soon?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Crazy
Come
how quickly
on
it
down.
goes.
You're the next contestant on
Training camp eyes.
Yeah.
live from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. You're looking at live. So let's go to this is Generation 1.0 Titans. Good stuff. Got off the team bus in Indianapolis, staying at the Hyatt there. And this is before they had remodeled everything, and it still had the hallway that led right over to the convention center, which led to the old RCA Dome. And there were 1,000 people in the lobby, ready to go, rabid, because it was the divisional round of the 1999 playoffs. This is January 16th in the year 2000 at the RCA Dome. The Titans had just come off of the Music City Miracle game. And the highlight that is always so popular in this is from the third quarter, 13-19 left in the game. There was a 3-play, 80-yard drive that only took 141 off the clock. And that third play, 68 yards of it came from the number 27 train.
And so the Titans, Sig McNair coming out humming it. 9-6, the Colts in front, early third period. Titans on first down.
Here comes blitz.
Blitz coming. Give Eddie George. Cuts back up the middle. 35. Has room. 40.
He's out of here.
50. 45-40. 35-30. 25-20. 15. 10. 5. In zone. 68 yards. Eddie George. Touchdown, Titans.
I tell you what, they brought the blitz up the middle with Barber. They ran the counter play. That's the Titans' favorite running play to Eddie George. They cut off the blitz. Eddie found a hole up the middle and shot like a straight bullet to the end zone.
For Eddie George, that is the second longest run of his career.
And that was the beginning of the end for a very young Peyton Manning and the Colts in the divisional round of the playoffs. So in the old RCA Dome, there was these huge jumbotrons on each end of the stadium. And Eddie, when he breaks contain, he's looking to see who's behind me to tackle him, and he is gone. Edward Nathan George Jr., 68 yards. That's 13-9. At that point, Al Del Greco would go on to add a couple of field goals. Final score, 19-16. And at that point, the Titans were headed to the AFC Championship game.
Dang.
That's a good one.
It's a really good one. And the RCA Dome, everything from that turf to just like the big scoreboard, like you mentioned. I mean, that was an iconic place to play a game.
Sure.
It was.
That's fascinating right there. That crowd noise. Was it just bouncing off the roof at that point, Rhett B?
Well, and first of all, it's a playoff game, so it's going to be loud anyway. But so many, and that's something that Jim Irsay, he still hates the Titans to this day because of that game. Titans fans were so immersed in everything Titans because, again, this is just a few days after the Music City Miracle.
Right.
I don't know how many fans were there, but there were times in that game where Eddie George would get the ball to carry, and he had 26 carries for 162 and a score, and 68 of it came on one run. But you could hear it. If I were to go back and pull some audio, just Nat sound from that game, Eddie.
Wow.
You could hear it.
It irks him
Jim
to this day.
Irsay's blood must have been boiling.
Real quick with Eddie, because I was in Columbus when Eddie, he comes back there to Columbus. He's such a star in Columbus because he went to Ohio State, was a star there, Heisman winner. And then you come down here and he's a star here, and he's beloved here. I don't know many players, former players like Eddie, that just, and he's beloved around the country, let's be honest, but he's a superstar.
Well, and back then, in the early days of his professional career, I mean, he was pretty much a household name.
Yeah.
Because you remember there was Madden, and then there was, what was the other game that, was it Game Day, I think was it what it was? And there was a 2001 edition of that came out in 2000. He was the cover.
That's
Really?
right.
Eddie was the
NFL
cover
Game
of
Day.
it. NFL Game Day. And, but yeah, I mean, the Miracle and Super Bowl run and all that. I mean, and everybody knew Eddie before then, obviously, because you mentioned it, Heisman Trophy winner, selected by the Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
And he played the last year in the Astrodome, and then 97 and 98 at Vanderbilt and Memphis, and then the rest was history. But yeah, he was a generational talent and he ran the ball a lot at Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the big guy, when he got the ball, I mean, you knew he was going to make something happen with it. Now, he wasn't like CJ2K and electric and gone like a cheetah,
Sure.
but he was so dependent. Like, I can remember vividly going into the locker room after games where we went into old cookie cutter stadiums like that had the old AstroTurf.
Oh, yeah.
I remember a couple of those with the Eagles, and it looked like he'd been in a fight with a grizzly bear. When he took his pads and things off, it's just, he's got road rash and he's all bloodied. I mean, he just, where people would tackle him on that old nasty turf, and he'd be skint from head to toe. And I'm like, you are one tough son of a,
And he still looks like he could play.
My, are you kidding?
He does.
My goodness.
Absolutely. Eddie's about to be 50, and he still looks like he could suit up and go.
Incredible.
So I'm looking back at, so he was Madden 2001, Eddie was. And it was him basically making the Heisman pose with the ball in his right hand and stretching out his left hand. And
wasn't he on NFL Game Day too, though?
I don't think he was.
Okay, maybe I
It was
missed.
Madden.
Maybe I did not remember that. Maybe okay.
Madden
I misspoke.
2001.
Okay, well there you go.
But it may have been both. I mean, heck, you can Google search now like any name
Yeah, that's a good
and
point.
cover, and then
Right.
people will have photoshopped every single player onto
Yup.
everything. So it's hard to tell. But
Sure.
I think he actually might have been both.
He
Not
may
sure.
have been both, I think. Yeah, Eddie, there he is on Madden. I see that one. That was 01.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Titans are up there actually with the most Madden covers between Vince Young,
Really?
Chris Johnson, and Eddie George.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Coming up, my favorite highlights that turned me from a casual Titans fan into a legit diehard Titans fan as a kid. I'm aging myself by saying as a kid, but I don't care because this was a hallmark moment in my Titans fandom, and it probably was for you too, regardless of how old you were, on December the 3rd, 2006, for one of Rob Baronis' signature moments as a Tennessee Titan. That highlight coming up next with Rhett Bryan right here on RKW. Hey, it's Will Bowling here from my friends at Lee Company. Are you looking to upgrade a damaged garage door or better maintain consistent temperatures in your garage? Well, contact the pros at Lee Company. Their expert technicians have you covered for all your garage door services. And right now, you can get up to $750 off a replacement and installation of a new garage door. That's right, $750 off. So give them a call today at 615-567-1000 or visit them online at leecompany.com/promotions to take advantage of this great deal. That's leecompany.com/promotions. Trust the pros who have been trusted for nearly 80 years. Since 1944, they've been in business, and there are plenty of reasons why. 615-567-1000. Get $750 off a new garage door at Lee Company. All you need. Wednesday morning at Ramon, Kayla, and Will is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Rhett Bryan is in studio with us, and the full crew is present and accounted for. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh. I'm Will Bowling.
Little Steely Dan right there.
Yeah.
My old school. That's an old school banger right there.
Yes, it is.
My mama loves Steely Dan.
Good stuff. Some of they got to the point where they were so microregiment style with the session players that they had, but they have a fantastic band, the brass, a lot of jazz vibes there, a lot of R&B vibes. Ramon, you go to a Steely Dan concert, there's a lot of brothers and sisters
a lot of
there.
Good times, and I check this.
There's a lot of brothers and sisters in there because it's like it's just good.
That's
It's
good.
good.
I want to go concert going with you, Rhett B.
All right.
You get more than the show. You get knowledge. He's like history of rock and roll at UT with Wendell, Professor Wendell.
Professor Wendell.
Oh my gosh, was phenomenal, Rhett B.
You'd walk in that class and see like 10 football players staring at you.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Good way to meet football
That's always
players.
a good class to take.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was. Always a good class, too. Now, he did pass away. Rest in peace to him, Professor Wendell.
Sure.
You know
Sure-
for
you
sure.
sure on
I know
that?
for a
Yeah,
fact.
is this
Okay.
factual?
I
All
do
right.
know for a
Let's just-
fact on
I just
that
want to make sure.
And then you made me think of
Yeah.
what was that song, Mr. Wendell?
Yeah, Mr. Wendell.
Remember
yeah.
I remember that one.
I don't know who sung that.
Yeah.
It's
Kayla, if I wasn't so sure, you could have completely came up. Oh, Mr. Wendell. Yeah. Mr. Wendell. Why don't you
She's just
come to
riffing.
your senses?
she's riffing over here. She's riffing.
Mr. Wendell, bring me a drink.
I was just going to
exactly.
say, ask Joe Hunt.
I can't remember who did Mr. Wendell. I'm sure somebody else
It is kind of funky, though.
pop up in
I'll
the
get on
F&M bank chat. But that was 90s stuff.
Love it. All right, Rhett.
So Scout Meeting Wednesday, Titans and Colts. And this is Will Bowling's favorite highlight because he's mentioned that here. We take you to December the 3rd, 2006. And the thing is, there have been some peaks and valleys with the Titans and the Colts in this. And unfortunately, the Titans have been on the losing end of that in terms of streaks and things. And this one broke another long streak that the Colts had in the prime of Peyton Manning's career. So this was a very cold and blustery day at Nissan Stadium. It was 40 at kickoff. There were 11, 12 mile an hour winds, which made it feel like 33 degrees here. And as this thing took exactly 3 hours on the dot, we're getting right towards the 3 o'clock part of the day. And you think about it in December, the time has already changed. So it's getting dark. It's pretty dang cold.
Yeah.
All right. It's not, like the game last Christmas Eve where there was a rolling blackout and all that stuff. But it's pretty cold. And at this point in the game, it's knotted at 17 apiece. There are, I think, 11 or 12 seconds left. And the Titans have had a drive that they put together, 9 plays, 33 yards. And the drive had stalled out at this point. So they put the ball in the hands of number 2, Rob Baronis.
The Titans have to make sure that they can tackle the second-year man from Cal. Snap, set, kick on the way. Good! Rob Baronis has just made a 60-yard field goal. I cannot believe it. Oh, my! What do you say? He clubbed it. Hentrick to kick off with 7 seconds remaining. He hits a squibber. It's been picked up by Fletcher. He pitches it back to Harrison. He throws it across the field to Hayden. Time has run out, and the Titans have upset the Colts 20-17. The Colts win streak over the Titans is over.
And it was. The losing streak to the Colts at that point was over. And, the excitement in Mike's voice, kickers were not kicking 60-yard field goals with regularity like they are more nowadays.
Yeah.
So, it was a big deal. And, the reason he was talking about they have to make sure that they can tackle, they had a deep man because this guy's trying a 60-yard field goal. Yeah. The Colts are like, I'm going to take this and psh.
Wow.
So, but he put it through the uprights, and the place went bananas. But that was a big one. That was a real big one. So the last game that I have chosen for this lovely segment is an instant classic, as ESPN used to call them. And this is I think it's week 5 or 6. Yeah, it would have been in week 5. Week 5 of last year. Now, you remember, the Titans started 0-2. Then they notched their first win in week this is week 4. Anyway, they were 0-2. They notched their first win of the season the week before. This is a super important game at Lucas Oil Stadium, October the 2nd of 2022. And so, remember, Matt Ryan is the quarterback for the Colts at this point last season. Robert Woods, Bobby Trees, had caught a touchdown to get the Titans on the board 7-0. We flash forward to 3:46 remaining in the first quarter. A 6-play, 75-yard drive took 3:19 off the clock. King Henry.
Tannehill gives it to Henry around right end to the 15, to the 10, to the 5, to the end zone. The King, Derrick Henry, touchdown, Titans!
He had 22 for 114 that day, 5.2 a carry, but it was hard yards. I mean, he earned what he got in this. And so then we flash forward to the let me see, make sure I got this right here. Where the hell is that? I have
laugh.
While Rhett's looking, Derrick Henry right now currently on the active list with 78 rushing touchdowns.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yes, it is.
Just to add to that, because, every time he gets down there, you just bet he can get in.
More
if they give him
times
the
than
ball,
not, it's
right?
the easiest decision to make. You know what I'm saying? Like 5 yards in, yeah, we can make that.
All right, so Matt Ryan had thrown one pick in this game early on. A big man, T.R. Tart, gets his hands on the second one.
Ryan takes the snap. Straight drop under pressure. Ball batted up in the air. It's caught. T.R. Tart on his back. Just intercepted the pass. Wow! Look what I found, Mom! Wow!
I love that.
That's the best.
Wow! The Mikey Flowers. I love him, man.
Well, it was just, he caught it point blank, man.
Yeah.
And, I remember Tierre telling us, Kayla, in the locker room, he said, his teammates said I looked like a turtle on my back. Yes. I couldn't get it shell down, trying to get back up again.
Which is so
and
great.
I think Coach Vrabel kind of gave him some trouble about it. But you think about, T.R. Tart was a guy, undrafted and had a little peaks and valleys early on. But, he's going to be majorly counted on.
Yeah.
And that was really kind of a big turning point for him. He'd already put work in and had some plays, but, that's a big one there.
It is.
And so we flash forward to the fourth quarter, and it's the Colts' first possession of this quarter, and they're already moving. They've had 5 or 6 plays in this drive. Jonathan Taylor, though, makes a mistake.
Going to give it to Taylor on the left side. He's got the first down as he picked up about a yard. Ball came out. Titan ball! Yes! They ripped it away from Taylor, who had fumble problems while at Wisconsin. At Fulton, came out of the pile with the ball.
By the way, see Christian Fulton's Instagram?
Dude,
that
Rhett.
dude is rocked up.
I just posted that
He
yesterday.
doesn't look like, I saw your quote tweet of it. I hadn't seen him in a minute.
Yeah.
He didn't look like the
Yeah.
same guy.
Really?
Like he looked raily and lean and wiry like a lot of good corners.
Yeah.
This guy has been hitting it.
He changed it around.
Take a look,
He's
man.
changing it
did.
around.
I don't know what he's added in muscle bulk,
I
but
see.
good Lord.
He's changed it around.
Yes, he
man.
has.
Yeah, he's got some abs. And
So
some
that
muscles.
was a big one there, and that gave the Titans the ball back, and they ended up having to punt. Ryan Stonehouse did. So the second possession for the Colts, and this is just outside the 2-minute warning here in the fourth quarter, and it's why I was so happy when they brought Danico Autry over from the Indianapolis Colts, because he makes a big play on Matt Ryan.
Ryan dropping. Under pressure. Sack! Third time today, Denico Autry.
3.
Wow.
3 against his old team. And then, so they would have to punt. And so now we are 3 plays later into the final drive of this game for the Titans. And it is 3rd and 4 at the Tennessee 47-yard line. Ryan Tannehill dials up the rookie tight end for a big first down.
Yeah.
Tannehill rolls, throws a Cockwell. He's got it. Inbounds at the 46-yard line of the Indianapolis Colts. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a first down for your Tennessee Titans.
And then Ryan Tannehill would ruin any rushing average he might have had with a couple of 3 kneels and
That's right.
victory
There it goes.
formation, the
Victory
best play in the
formation.
playbook, right?
Yep.
Best way to
And the
lose
Titans
yards.
win it 24-17 to even their record at 500 at 2-2, which was crucial after an 0-2 start and a massive win in terms of a division win over their rival, the Colts.
That's huge. Continue the streak, Rhett.
Yeah.
Continue the streak.
And Rhett, when I came in to this market, all the talk was 11 straight losses against the
They
Colts.
never beat Andrew Luck.
Wow.
And it was amazing when they turned that around, when Jacoby Brissett started, and it was Monday Night Football, right?
Yep.
When they won that game, it was almost like a new life was formed. And I know they didn't have Andrew Luck anymore for the most
Right.
part, but it's amazing how they have pretty much dominated him.
They've got the weight off their shoulders
Yeah.
at that point. But yeah. And I mean, gosh, the last 2 or 3 years, I mean, it's been fun to be a Titans fan against the Colts.
Yeah.
And I'm firmly convinced that is what may drive Jim Irsay to an early grave, because he
my
is just
gosh.
obsessed, man. He is obsessed.
Where's the hate? The hate is just because I guess he thought you're used to beating him, and now you can't beat him anymore.
I think
he
that's part of
counted
it.
on the South.
I think that's part of it.
Like his pride is like, this is what we do. Yeah, that's tough right there, Rhett. Yeah. So I get the hate
And I think
now.
he's weirder than a wooden watch anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Don't put that in the pool.
I mean, it's to the point where as long as Jim Irsay is there, I'm not worried about Indy.
I mean, think about this, and this will. I'm not vouching here,
Right,
but I'm just
right.
saying something, because you've taught us about vouching for people.
Yeah.
He fired Frank Reich because he couldn't get it done against the Titans, and I think that's a mistake.
Yep.
I think Frank Reich is a good ball coach, and I think you're going to see that with what he does in Carolina, with Bryce Young and some weapons that he already had at his disposal. I'm not saying Carolina's going to win the division. I mean, they could go 7-9 and probably win the division.
Right.
I don't think that division is going to be great unless Baker Mayfield has a second coming in Tampa. But I really think you'll see how good Frank Reich is by working for David Tepper now in the Carolina Panthers.
The thing that amazes me, Rhett, is the win streak in Indy more than anything. Winning 4 straight games in Indianapolis was a completely foreign concept for so much of this team's history. And even going back to the season where Indy, without Peyton Manning, earned the number 1 overall pick to pick Andrew Luck, they still beat the Titans at Indy that year.
Yeah, I think that was the game where Curtis Painter was the quarterback.
That's
the
right.
Former
Painter,
Purdue Boilermaker.
Yeah.
Can you name the other quarterback that played in place of Peyton Manning that year?
Brissett?
No. Let me think.
No.
Rhett, do you know this one?
I should know it. I'll know it when I hear it.
It was
Dan
no,
Orlovsky.
Dan
Oh
Orlovsky.
my
I was about to say
gosh.
Dan
Yeah.
Orlovsky.
Really?
Yeah.
I said Brissett. That's way too early.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, that's
He forgives you.
Yeah, he was teammates with Luck though, so that was a win. Right? He was
Yeah.
with the Patriots at the time.
There you go.
Orlovsky?
Dan
Yeah.
Orlovsky was not running out of the back of the end zone as a Colt.
That's honestly the only pro clip I've ever seen of Dan Orlovsky.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even know he played like anywhere else.
He wasn't good with them either.
Everywhere.
He was with Detroit. He was. I mean, he spent some time. He had some cups of coffee, but
He's still with ESPN too. He
Yeah,
didn't-
he had a
He's still
crazy
there.
tweet yesterday about hygiene, that he does that a lot.
Huh.
He said you can go 2 days without showering in the summer as long as you get in a
No.
saltwater pool.
nope.
No, absolutely
No.
not.
I
No,
just
no,
at this
no.
point, like the guy's good on TV,
Look,
but that stuff is
I'm not
just
signing
ridiculous.
up for swamp booty here.
No.
No. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
Maybe he learned that from Jim
Gross.
Irsay.
I'd be down to test it.
Probably. Of course you would.
Anybody got a saltwater pool?
The thing I remember, so Rhett, when you think of sometimes like signature moments in teams that you're a fan of, in like images that are burned into your mind in a good way, of like you can just see it. Like when Ramon and Tennessee won the SEC East in 2007, I can literally see Dan Williams blocking the field goal to send it to a fifth overtime for Tennessee to win that game and go to the SEC championship. I can literally see Rob Baronis in the all powder blue.
Yeah.
Kick that thing 60 yards to beat Indy. And that was back too when and they've brought it back, the code blue games. Like wearing the all powder blue is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
A
Absolutely.
huge deal.
And if I remember correctly, that kick, it still had something extra on it.
Yes,
it
it
would have
did.
been good
Did
for
he
60
really?
plus.
Yes,
That's
it did.
crazy.
And Rhett is 100%
It
right.
didn't just die over the crossbar.
It-
It had a little extra.
It was not Chase McGrath against Alabama.
No,
say the
it was
least.
not.
And you weren't in Denver. Like
That's right.
the other
No.
portion of it. Like, good.
That's right. But, and we were on the wrong end of that when Peyton was in Denver and
Yeah.
Matt Prater hit the 65-yarder
Right.
on that deal. That was a bad day.
Goodness.
But I'm just thinking about the Colts this year. And you get them in week 5. And I like that they get them in week 5 because hopefully Anthony Richardson has not figured things out by then. Because he's still going to have some rookie bumps.
The entire year is going to be rookie.
I mean, but
bumps.
that first 3-4 weeks,
Yeah.
there's a lot of sloppy, undisciplined football played. You know this because you don't have two-a-days at training camp. You don't. The off-season structure is changed, and that. Listen, you guys bargained for that, and that's what you got, and that's good. But the byproduct is only the teams that are playing halfway decent ball are the ones that get that first jump start to when it counts in November and December.
Facts, Rhett B. We got some good stuff in Scout Meeting Wednesday. too.
There we go.
Great stuff here as well. Rhett Bryan, thank you as always, sir.
Glad to do it.
It's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhett B.
Coming up, more clarity on Alvin Kamara and his legal troubles this offseason as he puts some of that story behind him, yet may now have a suspension ahead of him. The latest coming up next on RKW.
Hey, I'm joined now by our good friend Dean Glasscock of Arbor Art Tree and Shrub. You all know what the other lawn care guys don't know, Dean, and that is the art of trees and shrubs. And, you know, there's so many things you can offer with the accredited company that y'all have. Tell us a little bit more about the full service tree care you offer.
That's right. Hey, good morning. Happy Wednesday. We're halfway there to the weekend. Yeah, full service tree care. I've been talking about it for a long time. 29 years in business, almost 30 years now. Super proud of that. Got a great crew. Accredited. We're accredited through the Tree Care Association Tree Care Industry Association, and also ISA certified arborist. I've got 3 arborists on staff. We're registered through the state of Tennessee. We're a drug-free workforce as well, so I'm real proud of our guys. Our guys are real approachable. You don't have to be afraid. You know, some people are skeptical about having people on their property. I'm one of those kind of people, and, you know, we're just real trustworthy, and our zone listeners know that. So don't forget, 615-299-9999. That's an easy phone number to remember. If you have tree issues or shrubs around your home that you need help with, we can help you. Again, 615-299-9999. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.
Almost 30 years of experience. That's Arbor Art Tree and Shrub for exceptional service every time. Like Dean said, call 299-9999 or just check them out online at arborart.net.
Wednesday morning at Ramon Kalen Will is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Coming up in hour number 3, Ramon Foster takes us into the film room. We dive into what the film says about the Indianapolis Colts. Go from the past to the present. 615-737-1045 is our number. We've also got the PGA Tour giving us some very interesting details on their partnership that is not yet official with Live Golf yesterday on Capitol Hill. We'll get to that coming up as well in hour number 3. But, guys, we got more clarity on Alvin Kamara, and he's put the legal process of his charge over the summer behind him, yet now awaits a likely suspension from the National Football League. Yesterday, Alvin Kamara pleaded no contest to a lesser misdemeanor charge of breach of peace for an incident that took place in Las Vegas, February of 2022, per the Clark County District Court. He will have to complete 30 hours of community service and pay $105,000 of restitution to the victim for past medical expenses as a result of his no contest plea. He'll also be fined $500 and now will likely be disciplined by the NFL under the league's personal conduct policy.
Too many cameras around. You can't do this type of stuff. That's bad. If your homeboy's doing something on benefit of you, leave. If you trying to be with your homeboys doing stuff like this, don't. It just ain't worth the $100,000 to a dude that you beat up. Man, that's an expensive butt whooping. Tell you that much.
I believe this was at the All-Star festivities, right?
I think so. It was somebody.
February 22 in Vegas.
Which is also like, come on, like you're at an NFL event, you know, in terms of what you're there doing.
Yeah.
You can't do it at this point. You're still in your career. You shouldn't do it anyway.
Yeah.
But I get like sticking up for people and all that stuff. But
that, right?
This is just not. You can't do that in this part of your career where you're still trying to have a career and be, you know, something in the league, which he has been.
Yeah.
This is just it stinks. It's not a good look on him. It's a hit to his, I guess, pocketbook a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sure some people would look at the $100,000 fine and say, that ain't nothing. It's still something.
So NBC Sports previously reported that Kamara was bracing for a 6-game suspension.
Whoa.
But that was before he agreed to plead no contest, which drops the felony charge of this thing. So
Okay.
The NFL's personal conduct policy states conduct by anyone in the league that is violent, dangerous, or irresponsible and puts innocent victims at risk and undercuts public respect and support for the NFL. So even if there are not criminal charges, the NFL can still suspend you for things that put innocent victims at risk, according to their public policy on this. I would guess 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
Fair, Ramon?
Yeah, 4 games. They'll probably say 4, try to reduce to 2.
Because I think if they're originally saying 6 and now the felony charge is gone, does that bring the suspension down maybe just a couple more? Because I'm kind of from like they're going to say 6 originally, then come down to 4.
For a situation like this, I think they go to 4 and settle at 2 almost. He is an item. The fact the felony is dropped, that's big right there. And he's already got to pay out of pocket and do community service. So if I was negotiating his suspension, I'd say, hey, look, he's already been hit here, here, and here. Losing 2 game checks is going to hit him way more than that $100K is. So let's work on 2 games right here.
Does this look bad, though, in terms of the NFL, and we continue to kind of have this conversation with some things that players are, you know, suspended for game-wise? Like if this ends up to just be 2 games, and then you're looking at MPF and the situation with him gambling on a non-NFL game, and he's getting 6 games from the bat and can't even say, hey, look, can we go back and relook at this and get fewer games? Like, does that look bad, though?
With the gambling as it stands right now, no, because they worry about protecting the shield, the NFL logo. And I think as outward as the gambling stuff is, you much rather keep the integrity of the game or respect of the game as far as a guy making a personal decision. That's to separate on one. Now, if we're talking about something domestic or a situation like that, that's one that they can't miss on because that's the shield and that's more personal. Oh, yeah. I think the law kind of handled this one for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
615-737-1045, our number. Coming up next on Capitol Hill, the PGA Tour has given us new insight into some proposals of its merger with Liv. Many of them are weird. One of them makes a lot of sense. And then there's another part of it that is a hilarious add-on by one of the now most influential people in the sport of golf. We reset that headline coming up next at halftime of a very fast show. Off and running right here on Ramon, Kalen, Will.
What the heck's going on? It's 8 o'clock. It's time to wake up. We're in the 104.5 The Zone studios, and I'm Robert Walsh. Saints running back Alvin Kamara pled no contest. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. To a misdemeanor charge of breach of peace for his involvement in a 2022 fight in Las Vegas, according to court records, opening the door to NFL discipline. The Saints drafted Kendre Miller with the 71st overall pick in the third round of this year's NFL draft. Some new NBA rule changes. The Board of Governors has approved 2 new gameplay changes for the 23-24 season. First will be an in-game penalty for flopping is going to result in a technical foul free throw. And the second is a second coach's challenge will be awarded if the first challenge is unsuccessful. And the Major League draft wrapped up yesterday, and Tennessee right-handed pitcher Bryce Jenkins was drafted by the New York Mets in the 17th round. It's the second consecutive draft the Mets have taken a Tennessee pitcher. They drafted Blake Tidwell in the second round of last year's draft. The Vols have had 8 players drafted, 6 of them being pitchers. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off we go into the second half of the show on a beautiful Wednesday morning in Music City. Welcome in to Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. And we've got Scout Meeting Wednesday coming at you in 20 minutes as Ramon Foster takes us inside the film room scouting the Indianapolis Colts. An interesting discussion on what Indianapolis has done to revamp their offense under a new head coach, under a new quarterback. We'll get the latest from them as we just remind you all the things that have happened in the NFL offseason. Guys, I feel like we've reached that point of the offseason where we not only have to remind our audience, which spans the globe on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, who teams have added or subtracted. We also just have to remind ourselves, because it's easy to forget.
It is.
Yeah.
All the moves that have been made.
It's a lot of moves being made, man. Team, like, you look at rosters, they're not the same from last year. The turnover ain't a lot, but it's like a few key pieces that you're like, oh, he's on this team too? Yeah, absolutely.
And now we're just 2 weeks away from training camp, which is nuts. So it's like then we really are starting to ramp it up. So this is perfect that we start the Scout Team Wednesdays a little early so that we get the viewers and the listeners all up to date.
Up to date, Kayla. Football season just consumes you.
It's crazy.
It really does.
Not much time off, right?
Well, yesterday, the PGA Tour was on Capitol Hill, and the relationship and partnership they have with the Saudi Public Investment Fund during a Senate investigative subcommittee hearing yesterday released some concrete details of possible ways LIV will partner with the PGA Tour. And the biggest thing that stood out to me in this, guys, is that tour executives made it clear that the sides still have wrinkles to work out, including what happens to LIV, what happens to Greg Norman, the head of LIV Golf, and the exact size of the massive Saudi investment that tour officials say will help stabilize the fractured world of pro golf. Jimmy Dunn, PGA Tour policy board member, essentially said, there is no merger. There is simply an agreement to try to get a deal done, and said that reports about the deal were very misleading and inaccurate when the PGA Tour themselves legitimately posted their own story about this. I digress. Among the presentation points given, Tiger and Rory both owning LIV teams. Don't like that. Tiger and Rory each playing in 10 LIV events, as LIV would just continue to be its own tour, but PGA Tour pros would also play on LIV. And Yasir Al-Ramayan, I think that's how you say it.
Probably
Looks
so.
like
Sounded
Looks
good.
like it.
Threw in there, hey, by the way, I want a membership to Augusta National,
Okay.
which I think is hilarious.
You did?
What?
How much does it cost you?
The guy from the Saudi Public Investment Fund is just like, hey, by the way, if I'm going to invest all this billions in golf,
Yeah.
can I just play at 18 at Augusta whenever I want to? Thanks.
Is that what he said?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's part
that's
of
pretty
the
much, yeah.
part of the proposal to be.
By the way, I want a little something from this.
yeah.
I mean, I would too. That'll get you in the door. $1 billion, right?
yeah.
$1 billion will get you in
Well,
the door.
and there's we don't know how much money the Saudi Public Investment Fund is investing in golf, but that's just hilarious to me.
Goodness.
I just kind
Wow.
of thought more so this was a joint, like, merging. Like, again, I know that those things it was not made clear, but I think a majority of us kind of thought that they were just coming together to create a new kind of PGA.
I did.
And now
too.
it looks like what you're saying, Will, is they're still going to be separate. Like, they're still two different tournaments.
Not necessarily. So
Okay.
these are
Or two different.
points that have not been ironed out. So that's
Okay.
the point that I was trying to make and probably didn't do a good enough job of, was that these are all proposals made
Yeah.
between the two parties with which an official final document of this is how it's going to look hasn't been come to an agreement. Like they haven't come to an agreement on that yet.
Who will vote? Is the players going to say?
Well, it depends on what the Senate allows them to do. So
Jeez.
that's part of this, is that this is still an antitrust investigation done by a Senate investigative subcommittee where the PGA Tour and LIV, once they decide how much is the Saudi Public Investment Fund going to invest within the league, will probably dictate how much say they have in what it looks like. But there are still there's a ton of proposals out there. I mean, you've got everything from a World Golf Series team event that would conclude in Saudi Arabia. You've got LIV continuing to operate as an independent circuit with its schedule confined just to the fall. That's one of the things that's been proposed of, all right, all the LIV guys are going to play PGA Tour, but then they're also going to play LIV. It just has to be between this time frame and things like that. One of the things they want to do is have team events based on nationalities and try to be kind of a Ryder Cup adjacent level yearly tournament.
Okay.
Instead of that being, in the series the way it is right now. So it's fascinating to see what comes of this. I don't think anyone on either side has any clue what the final iteration of PGA and LIV looks like.
Can I just say one thing? Just for, I love golf. I would say I'm a little more than a casual viewer. But for those casual viewers, if they want to grow the game, my advice, and I know they're not listening, maybe they are, is to keep it as simple as you can. Because if there are too many events on too many different places where you're trying to search for this tournament and that tournament, like, that's not going to help the game of golf. Like, let's also try to continue to help grow the game of golf and these personalities. Because if it's too much, if it's too complicated, I'm not even tuning in.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Kayla, 100%, because it seemed like, okay, now you just want to pile on because you have this bankroll to do what you want to with. I'm with you on that. The other question I have is this, too, because you mentioned the Saudis buying this up. Like, for you guys, like, that really following this, is this a bad thing or a good thing? Because you mentioned that they're buying in, and it seems like, oh, this is bad, we're about to lose golf. Is this actually pretty good for where golf is and where it needs to head to? With this influx of money that's going in.
Yes.
It's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
mean,
it is.
It's money.
Because you mentioned this thing like, oh, we're not supposed to be, doing these types of things. Seems taboo, but if it's going to enhance what golf is to the consumer and it keeps the
they gotta
integrity
make sure
of
they
it.
do it right, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's money. It's a good thing. They're
Absolutely.
investing in the game.
Okay.
But they got to make sure they do it right.
Yes.
I think that's important.
I think the thing that's going to be
Yes.
really good for golf, too, is this TGL.
Yeah.
That's going to start in 2024, which this is a primetime golf league that's essentially going to be like golf at night, where you have analytics behind every shot. You've got a ton of data, high-tech, high-energy fan experience with fans sitting greenside like they do in Phoenix at the Waste Management, where you've got like stadium par threes.
That would be insane.
It's not going to be 18 holes. It's going to be partly in stadiums or indoors even with lights on, and you get more things like the match that are now mainstreamed and bite-sized. Because I think
Right.
that's the thing for fans that don't want to sit and watch a 5.5 hour round of golf unless it's a major where you're playing for a green jacket or it's the Wanamaker and things like that. If you can make golf bite-sized for people with short attention spans, then you're going to be more accessible to people. And I think that's what the TGL is going to be. So, look, I've said on this show, too, I think the LIV merger is outstanding for casual fans and diehard fans. Mm-hmm. The only people this does not benefit are the ones that stayed loyal to the PGA Tour. Mm-hmm. But long-term, I think it will benefit them, too, because the sport could not survive going the direction it was going with two rival leagues who didn't have, the platforms they needed to be sustainable long term is basically the simplest way to put it.
Does this lead to more youth programs too? Like, is this part of the PGA LIV agreement too? Is, hey, let's incorporate this into schools more, not even privates, like publics. Like, hey, golf program here. If this
it's an
much
expensive
amount
sport
of money,
to play.
I know that's what I'm saying. Just as far as like equipment, like scholarships, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
A word, there's a hotbed of golfing around. Like, if you want to grow the game, like, you got to also hit the youth too.
No, I agree with you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what basketball does worldwide. The NFL is trying to do it with flag football and every sport has their, hey, we got to grow it. Is this just for the pros, or is this a trickle down effect of attraction to the golf game too?
I do think they've done a better job of that. I mean, that's why the entire generation of U.S. golfers right now who are so good were inspired by Tiger Woods when they were kids.
Indeed.
Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Max Homa. Max Homa, the guy that, was ranked number 2 in the world a few months ago and is on the record of Tiger is like a hero. And all of them. I mean, you've got a bunch of guys between 20 and 30 even who are inspired by Tiger.
So, and that's why I asked the question, like, where's the trickle down? Tiger brought everybody. Now, it's got to be something. I ain't going to say he brought everybody. Tiger was the dude that brought more eyes to what the game is. And if they're trying to bring more eyes to the game as it stands right now, there's got to be an incentive to bring me to it. You know what I'm saying? Because who's the one guy in this era right now?
I mean, I think a lot of people expected Rory and Jordan to be the guys, but Jordan hasn't really lived up to that consistency. Rory is still always in the mix because he is just
And I think that's just
talented.
what it is with Rory. He's in the mix.
It's him. I mean, not in terms of prestige. No one is touching Tiger in terms of how good he was. Scotty Scheffler would be the closest to that right now. But in terms of the face of the sport to like a worldwide level, Rory McIlroy is unquestionably the face of golf. Outside of Tiger Woods. Okay. Tiger is honestly still just the face of golf.
I know. It's like, Tiger, I feel like it's going to be hard unless his son ends up being
Charlie
close to what, and that's a lot to live up to.
Ooh.
But
now I kind of want to hear that golf bed that we had the Masters. Tony V now. Tony V now. Like, we need more of that in golf.
Should I Chris Vernon? Coming up, switching gears back to the NFL where head coach Shane Steichen and the Indianapolis Colts have a big challenge with a rookie quarterback in resurrecting their team after a 4-12-1 season in 2022. And the question we will ask Ramon Foster for Scout Meeting Wednesday, can Anthony Richardson be Shane Steichen's Jalen Hurts at his new stop? Going from Philadelphia to Indianapolis. We go inside the film room for Scout Meeting Wednesday with Ramon Foster. Coming up next on Ramon K. Littlewell. Hey, it's Will Bowling. At Brentwood Hearing Center, they understand choosing a hearing care provider is a big decision. Their number one priority is delivering exceptional patient care. And the staff at Brentwood Hearing Center, they've got many years of expertise in hearing healthcare, and they're well trained on a variety of services ranging from evaluations to treatment. You can schedule an appointment today at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. Their website is great. Or give them a call at 615-377-0420. Brentwood Hearing Center believes great care includes establishing great relationships with their patients. Treating hearing loss is an ongoing process that requires regular follow-ups, maintenance, and cleanings to keep you hearing your best. Their staff is here to support you not only during your initial visit, but throughout your entire journey or the journey for one of your family members to better hearing. So give them a call, 615-377-0420. Over 30 years, they've got one home, proudly serving Brentwood from the same location for more than 30 years. Their website, again, BrentwoodHearingCenter.com, 615-377-0420. Brentwood Hearing Center, better hearing, better life. Wednesday morning on Ramon, Kalen, Will is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is our phone number. If you want to jump in and make Scout Meeting Wednesday, Trash Talk Wednesday, when it comes to the Indianapolis Colts that we dive into coming up in just a moment. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, Will Bowling here with you as Shane Steichen takes over in Indianapolis, Ramon Foster, and does so with a new quarterback and an offensive line with a lot of the same names that is looking for different results. You have this down on the bullet points you sent us.
Mm-hmm.
You are not out on Quentin Nelson quite yet. Let's start there. Why is that?
No doubt about it, Will. But before we do that, every segment got to have a good intro.
That's right.
Good.
The vocal stylings of Ramon Aloysius Foster, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's play up the Indianapolis Colts, okay? Because why? It's what we do.
Got to make them sound good because they're not.
Got to make them sound good. You said first question was about Quentin Nelson.
You are not out on him. Why is that?
Because he got a big challenge in front of him, and that's Jeffrey Simmons, period. You don't want to get beat by your divisional opponent or your biggest foe in your division every single year. For those reasons, he had a bad down year last year, whatever you want to call it, bad, not Quentin Nelson level is what you would call it, right? And you got Jeff coming right back again with a bag just as big as Quentin Nelson's too. It's mano a mano every time they're going to see each other with Tierra Tartu. So for those reasons, I think we will see a better version of Quentin Nelson. But again, he plays guard. I don't know how significant that's going to be for the rest of his OL. I wanted to point him out simply because he's one of the biggest highlights they have in Indianapolis right now. And for those reasons, he will be a reason, if he's good, they run his direction.
Mm-hmm. The strengths of the Colts start where, in your opinion?
Jonathan Taylor. Hands down. I wrote down, and it has to be, too. They have so many questions. Rookie quarterback, OL has been in question. Assumed to be better this year as a group. Jonathan Taylor was pushed to be better than Derrick Henry the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. He has been pushed by the league, by national outlets to be the guy in the AFC South. It's going to go through him. You know all things are possible if you got a run game, and the Colts have to rely heavy on him.
Which is surprising that we've heard a little less, right, this season coming into it. I think more so it's like, can he be the guy we all expected him to be?
Yeah.
Can he be healthy? Can he do all those things? But yeah, you're right, Ramon. I mean, he's been getting praise for the last 2 seasons.
Remember, we're talking about
all
MVP.
over Derrick Henry. Before anything about Derrick Henry, it was JT.
It was JT.
Right? And he's underperformed. And look, I get the injuries and stuff, but he's underperformed when it's all said and done.
He has. He's been the man. He's the guy that they want you to fear when it comes down to what Indianapolis has up to offer right now, right, Kayla? So that's going to be a biggie for this team.
And that's my issue when people try to take Derrick Henry off the pedestal and replace him. I understand that there are more versatile running backs than Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. But it's Derrick's longevity that we've compared Derrick to about 5 or 6 different players over the course of the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Yep.
And the only name that stays consistent in the conversation about best running back in the league in that span is Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's been Nick Chubb. It's been Jonathan Taylor. Mm-hmm. It's been Christian McCaffrey. It's been a number of players who can do it for a season. Jonathan Taylor did it in 2021 when he had 18-11, 18 rushing touchdowns, over 100 yards per game, and was an excellent receiver as well. He had over 2,000 all-purpose yards. But then in 2022, he was healthy for 11 games and only had 861 yards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Derrick even did it after the injury, after the foot freak injury.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was still consistent.
But there's so much weight on his back right now, Jonathan Taylor, and they're going to go through him. He's got a lot to prove. Contract probably coming up soon after this, too. Yeah, he's in that conversation now. But, yeah, he's one of their strengths. Moving on.
Absolutely.
Moving on. Another strength of this Colts team, DeForest Buckner. You mentioned his name, you know who he is. He's that type of dude, DeForest Buckner. You know exactly who he is, what he does in every single play. But I got this 8 sacks and 11 TFLs last year, always available. think he was there for 16 or 17 games last year, and he's got a real good Robin. Groven Stewart, solid. He, to me, is Tierre Tart to Big Jeff. Grover solid. I think he just signed a deal last year, if I'm not mistaken, but they got a solid group that is led by him. Also support from guys like Kwity Paye, who's got to prove he's worth that first-round tab. Zaire Franklin, solid linebacker, and also Shaq Leonard, too. Real good group of dudes. If he can stay healthy, Shaq Leonard is one of the best floating linebackers around the league, I feel like. It's a matter of his health and how long they're on the field as a defense.
Buckner just plays the game like so tenaciously. Like I love watching that guy play football.
Yeah. He was one of my biggest.
Tenaciously a word or tenacious is?
It is now.
Now it's a word. Now it's a word.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, I'll allow it. DeForest Buckner was one of my biggest challenges because he's a tall dude, long arms, and he's straight line with his hips so he can get around you or run through you.
Yeah.
With this new outfit of this offensive line interior, you got to have your eye on DeForest Buckner.
I remember the first time I suggested in my college group text that Jeffrey Simmons was better than DeForest Buckner. I was almost tarred and feathered. And now he's like just known as the third best defensive lineman in the league.
Yeah.
And it's accepted that, like Jeff's better.
Yeah.
But DeForest Buckner is still that guy. I think that defense did not get a lot of complimentary play from their offense a season ago. And really the last 2 seasons between Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan, that defense had to run onto a lot of short fields after a lot of interceptions.
He was a steady Eddie, man.
And I think that defense, and I would say the same is true of the Titans, that we look at the Titans and say, look, the Titans offense was so bad on third downs and could generate no explosive plays that defense was better than what the stats showed a season ago. I think the same could be said about Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I know you've got more strengths, though, but Ramon, just while we're on this topic, one of the weaknesses, though, in talking about gambling suspensions, that secondary has quickly become a weakness in Indianapolis when it was a strength the past few seasons.
It was. They were making plays, getting interception. They had a young, good group of guys. And who was a veteran cornerback?
Stephon Gilmore.
Stephon Gilmore was a good, I thought, compliment
Really
to what
good
they were
signing.
trying to do for them, for what he was there for. But you had a young guy, Isaiah Rodgers. Due to have a payday after this year or going into this year, had a solid season for them last year, and now he's no longer on the team. One, because of suspension, and then they just say, you know what? You don't have enough money in my emotional data bank to keep you on this team.
He bet on NFL games, right?
He bet on NFL games.
Yes,
I think he bet, what was the over-under on rushing?
Yeah, he bet
game?
the under on one of his teammates' rushing totals,
That's
which I think is hysterical.
But the thing about their weaknesses, though, the secondary, you don't know who's there. I couldn't tell you anybody. Like, there are some names.
That's not a good thing.
And even if they did have some high drafted guys, nobody's flashed on paper. Nobody's actually shown you what they're capable of. The best thing that secondary has going for them is that rush they have up front.
Right.
That's the only thing they got. No one rings a bell in that group. Not to say that a stud won't come out of that group this year, but the best thing they got is their front defensive line and rushers. That secondary should get dogged this year.
So second-round corner Julius Brents will be a very important draft pick for Indianapolis. The corner taken out of Kansas State, number 44 overall, in a huge draft class. I mean, you're talking about Anthony Richardson, but Julius Brents, Josh Downs, the wide receiver from North Carolina, BYU tackle Blake Freeland, added Tamiwa Adebare from Northwestern, the just athletic freak they take at 110. Darius Rush from South Carolina, who had a really good game against Tennessee in that Tennessee-South Carolina loss. They've got young players in the secondary. Interesting, Ramon, that in Pro Football Focus's estimation, safety is their shallowest position. Rodney Thomas II was a 7th-round pick last year, had an overall PFF grade of 54.3, and is projected to start this year next to Julian Blackmon, who has just kind of been inconsistent through his whole career at the strong safety spot.
So you see what I'm saying? Like, they got components, but especially when you're incorporating young dudes at that position in today's game, when you air the ball out.
I was just going to say that. And maybe not as much challenge in the AFC with some unknown quarterback play. I'm not really talking about Ryan, but some of the other guys. I mean, you got Trevor Lawrence, though. But, I mean, the way that they sling the ball around in this league, like, you have to have that backside be somewhat full.
Intact. Yeah, and the thing about it though too, it's hit or miss with this type of stuff because if they get taken advantage of early in their careers, there's no bouncing back into drafting another guy.
Yeah.
At that position.
Mm-hmm. What else you have?
Another strength. I just got to put Shane Steichen because his averages as far as like ranking in the NFL has been really good. He's known for the deep passing. Yeah. He got a guy that can make the deep pass. Anthony Richardson, okay. Strong arm, help from a lanky Michael Pittman Jr. Solid rookie season last year from Alec Pierce. So they got a couple 1-2 guys that they've been well enough. And let's not forget Jelani Woods. I know Rhett was big on Jelani Woods. He was actually almost a Titan killer when he went up there. He went up there, like he was good. He's a rangy tight end, and I'd expect more out of him this year. They have some components. They don't have my faith. And this is where I'm going to go with my first weakness that I had on them too, was just this. New head coach and a rookie quarterback that Irsay can't wait to put on a pedestal. Yep. I'm looking for Pick City this year. Just point blank period. I don't know if the O-line's going to be able to have enough time to protect AR when it comes down to it. And if they're not running the ball, you make yourself very one-dimensional when it comes down to it. So is that, and then you got Gardner Minshew in your quarterback room. I put also Pick City. You got Sam Erlinger in your quarterback room. Pick City. You got a bunch of guys that are motivated but don't have much moxie behind it.
The one thing I'll say about Gardner, it's not just because he went to Washington State, but I will stick up for him in the fact that in any other quarterback room where you had a solid, proven starter, he is a very solid backup. I would love to have him here in Tennessee backing up Ryan Tannehill.
Great teamer.
But that is something that you can't really look at the backups and say, oh, yeah, they're solid because they're really not starters. Like Minshew isn't really a starter. And you've got AR, like you said, who's kind of being thrusted into this position saying, okay, we're ready. We're ready to see what you can do. It's not like you can count on really any of them year one.
Exactly.
I think AR will grow into that role, but right now Gardner can't just come in and take over.
And that's where my last 2 points come in as far as weaknesses and just my summary. Offensive coordinator to me is still a weakness too. Love him. Block for him. Jim Bob Cooter is the offensive coordinator. Think about this. Jim Bob hadn't called plays since 2018 with the Lions. At that time, they ranked 25th overall in points, 23rd overall in rushing yards, and 20th in passing. Some challenges here considering what the Titans defense usually looks like. And just to summarize them too, man, they were 4-12-1 last year. I really don't expect too much more from them. Too many missing pieces and not enough support on the offensive line, secondary, and running back depth.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to be 4-12-1. Yeah. It's going to be hard to see them be above 500.
And who's running the show, really?
Who's Irsay? Irsay. When management get involved, what coaches do is usually never a good thing.
Like Jerry Jones, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Can Indianapolis develop Anthony Richardson into a Jalen Hurts style playmaker? Not Jalen Hurts level. I think it's unrealistic to give him MVP level expectations upon his, he hadn't even had his first training camp yet. But is it fair for a former Philadelphia offensive coordinator to maybe use him in a similar way to the way they made Jalen comfortable?
That's got to be plan one. Definitely. It has to be Kayla. Like, there's no other way around it. But this is the thing. This is the separator between Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson to me. Hurts played. Hurts had some downfalls. Hurts went to another place and resurrected himself. Hurts went to Philly, beat a guy out.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson has yet to have almost any adversity at the quarterback position. One-year starter, making it happen, drafted in the first round early, and giving the keys to it. Like, only thing that's going to put him to Jalen Hurts level to me is time.
And let's put sorry.
No, I was just going to say, how much time is Irsay willing to spend to get him to that point?
Because right now he's a shiny new toy.
He is.
And a lot of this has also come on his draft stock row significantly because of just the monstrosity of who he is, like his body, the athleticism, the freak that he is. A lot of it is like there's a lot of a high ceiling. Can you get to it though? And that's a good point there. Is like, how long are they willing to roll with? Well, he's gonna get there.
That would be the plan. Yes. Can they do it? I'm about 60% no, just because of the time and how microwave the league is to it quarterbacks.
I think Gardner Minshew is going to make at least one start this season.
That's what I was going to ask, Will. Do you think that's because Anthony gets hurt or just because they want to just change things up?
There are so many reasons why it could happen that I think it will.
Yeah.
Just considering as much of an athlete as Anthony Richardson is, Amar makes a great point in the F&M Bank chat. He's going to have to understand how to use his body in an intelligent way, and that you can't just pinball off of tacklers like you could against Missouri and Kentucky and Vanderbilt.
Yep.
No.
This is the NFL now.
Absolutely not. He will be taken to the ground. And just mentally, Will, from the way defenses can, like I've been in those rooms where the defensive coordinator is just salivating because they got a rookie quarterback. I don't care if he is a prodigy like Trevor Lawrence or Andrew Luck. Like, oh my gosh, you don't know what you don't know. Like, that's what he's gonna have to deal with too. As far as like trying to figure out his body, like they're gonna blitz him so hard, dog.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It is funny that all of those Tennessee fans who have remained Colts fans because of Peyton Manning, and there are plenty of them. Many of them have switched allegiances to the Titans. The Titans having the run they've been on since 2019 has helped that. Yeah. But for those fans that have stayed Volunteers and Colts, you've got to have the same feeling about Joe Milton as you do about Anthony Richardson going into a rookie season. Because I still think similar quarterbacks. Their arm strength, their athleticism. I've seen some criticism of Joe Milton's athleticism. I think the freak testing, the vertical, the broad jump, the 40-yard dash. You can make the argument Joe Milton runs a little soft. I'm okay having that conversation. But in terms of the pure athleticism of things that those two guys can do, I think they check a lot of the same boxes.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of the same questions. Can they hone in the deep passing game and take the next step to harness their athleticism in a way that makes their team a contender within their own division?
Yeah. And it takes time to refine that type of stuff, too. Like, it's one thing to do it in OTAs and minicamp and training camp, right? But, like, the live reps that you get in stadium with the lights on, like, stuff's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like, the speed's just a tick quicker, too. You know what I'm saying? So that adjustment, like, Irsay's going to be highly upset this year. It's kind of the way I see this.
And even with Cam, the success Cam had, because he's that big, he was a big-bodied quarterback, that athletic quarterback.
Yeah.
His body got beat up, though.
It did.
And look what, I mean, I think he could have had a longer career if he was a little different in terms of the beginning of his career. And I mean, he got beat up. It doesn't matter how big you are, right?
Yep.
So Anthony Richardson got to learn that, Ramon. Like you said early on, how to be smart.
Think about Malik last year.
Yeah.
He was looking around. Like, he spun around into a sack or two because he wasn't aware of what like how fast the game is, and that's fair. That's supposed to happen, but to put everything on the shoulders of Anthony Richardson early on or try to go deep ball with him the entire time or do run action, you're going to expose a lot of stuff that he's probably not ready for.
615-737-1045, the number, your phone calls as we continue. We'll start with Phil coming up next as Scout Meeting Wednesday rolls on here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
It's Ramon Foster from My PhD Weight Loss. Today is Wednesday. I actually have my call with my coach, Rachel, tomorrow. You're probably thinking, Ramon, what are you talking about, a coach? Yes, I have a nutrition coach. Her name is Rachel. She is employed by My PhD Weight Loss, and it works. We talk about my plan, our plan on how we continue on. Again, I told you guys I'm down 67 pounds, even with vacation, okay? And that's simply because we have a plan. We have a guide and into what we're doing, and just continue out the summer and fall going into this thing too until where I'm comfortable in my weight loss journey. I don't care if it's 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 50 or 100. They will help you. There's a science to what they do, and it is absolutely magnificent. I've seen the results. Others have seen the results too, and it's not just me. They have actual NCAA college teams too that they help out with guys coming into college, don't know how to manage themselves or just transitioning their bodies. It's something that works, and if there's something you've been thinking about, it's never too late to start. Today may be Wednesday, but guess what? You can start tomorrow with your consultation and do the same thing that I've done. Go to myphdweightloss.com and definitely be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Wednesday morning at Ramon, Kayla, Will is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here on 104.5 The Zone. Coming up, we'll recap the headlines, take a look back at last night's All-Star game once again at 9 o'clock. 615-737-1045 is how you join in on the discussion. We go next to Phil, who is in Nashville, with us on the phone lines talking Titans this morning. What's up, Phil?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning, Phil.
Morning.
Yeah, so I got a question for all three of you all guys to elaborate on. This is the reason why DeAndre Hopkins should come here. It's between the defensive backs that we have to face, say, going to New England, Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, Buffalo Bills defensive backs, Sauce Gardner, New York Jets.
Yep.
And as y'all was talking about the defensive backs here in the AFC South, his numbers will be astronomical.
Yeah.
Compared to going at the AFC or AFC East. So I don't want to hang up and hear y'all out.
No doubt.
Thanks, Phil.
Good point.
I think the Titans are the perfect mix of opportunity from the individual side and the team side.
Yep.
You have an opportunity on a team that might be one receiver away from contending in their division, but you also have an opportunity to be the guy. Whereas in New England, in a more crowded wide receiver room that has weapons, not only are you not as likely to be the guy, you're not as likely to contend within that division if you join that team. I don't think the Patriots are one guy away. Patriots probably 3 or 4 guys away from being AFC East contenders.
Yep.
I think the Titans might genuinely be 1 or 2 guys away if they stay healthy. That's a massive if. From contending in the South. I think Phil brings up a good point.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Phil. And especially, I love listening to what we were saying about, the secondary and the Colts is a little bit weak right now. That's a great point. Now that I'm thinking about them, okay, yeah. And now the talk has died down a little bit about New England, and we've heard some reports about the Buffalo Bills being a little interested. We talked about Kansas City being possibly interested still. I think that's what DeAndre is honestly waiting out for, is just a chance. Give me a chance to go to one of these Super Bowl contending teams. But honestly, I think the Titans in the long run have a great chance at getting DeAndre Hopkins, just for the fact that it's not the perfect team to go to. No team is ever perfect to go to, because there's always situations you could find that you could say,
a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a crowded room up in Kansas City, right? How much are you going to get the ball there? But when it comes down to it, you look at all these little things that he's thinking about in the latter parts of his career. Where do I want to go? Where would I fit? And it really does make sense.
And Phil, we've talked about that before when it comes down to why choose the Titans, the South. You get your numbers up. I said, 1,100 for him would be a good number to have as far as D-Hop goes. It's feasible here. If, of course, Tim Kelly opens up a little bit and throw it. That's the other portion of it, too. Is having that real serious conversation Bill O'Brien, I know he's going to, throw it down the field to me, but can your quarterback actually throw it to you? Yeah. Mac Jones is a real question. Only people I'm concerned about, I even think the Bills situation is drummed up a little bit more than it's true.
I do too.
Only people I believe in right now that could come in last minute would be Kansas City.
Right.
But what are you willing to take in a year? $2 million to DeAndre Hopkins may feel like he's undervaluing himself a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But any team will make it work for 1 year.
That one just depends on how much they can save by extending Chris Jones.
Right.
That's the thing for Kansas City, is that Chris Jones in 2023 is scheduled to make a cap hit of $28.2 million. If they can extend him out, he's a free agent next offseason. If they could even cut that number in half, then they all of a sudden are in a better cap situation than the Titans.
Can I ask a question? And
Absolutely.
Maybe, I don't know, I just think about this. Kansas City has been a Super Bowl contender for the past few years, right? And they have a lot of the weapons already. Every year, they lose a couple pieces, but they still make it work. And I just feel like is DeAndre Hopkins really the key to for sure getting them back to that Super Bowl and winning it? Like, is that for sure what they need and what they're going to go out there and pay money for? Like, I really do wonder if you're Kansas City, they can say all they want about, we want D-Hop. Do they really need D-Hop?
I think they do.
Yeah. I think
their wide receivers are Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Kadarius Toney, and Sky Moore.
But look what they did last year with not a lot.
I know, but
because Kelsey's considered a wide receiver in several situations.
Of course, right.
You know,
and
right?
their window will be wide open as long as Patrick Mahomes plays quarterback for them and is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a valid point. But I do think that going into a season with Marquez Valdez-Scantling as your one, and even with Mahomes as your quarterback, you can upgrade on that.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly by adding DeAndre Hopkins.
D-Hop is another distraction for a team like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's exactly like they're the same way they use Juju.
Yeah.
Like Juju, we know who he is. Oh, well, guess what Juju is going to do? He might hit you for 50 in a game. That 50 actually puts him into the red zone where they score.
Yeah.
So that's what he becomes. Here, I think he actually is an item.
I think
Your
his numbers,
focus point.
I think his numbers would be more inconsistent in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think his numbers could be more solid here,
I don't know.
possibly.
I don't think so, because how many times did A.J. Brown even go 2 catches for 11 yards? Because the Titans will go away from the passing game. Like if Derrick Henry has a 200-yard game, DeAndre Hopkins will get 3 catches for 10. I mean, Titans wide receivers are untouchable for me in fantasy football because they could go for 150 or they could go for 15.
I think maybe that's just me hoping that Tim Kelly is changing a little. There's a little bit of difference with what they're going to do. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wishful thinking on this.
We all are, Kayla.
But I'm trying to grab an apple right now.
Trying to manifest this thing into passing.
And Kayla, I do think you are right that the best iteration of the Titans now would be to open things up and have a receiver who is a consistent number one.
Mm-hmm.
If the Titans win the AFC South, it's because they have a consistent Traylon Burks and a consistent DeAndre Hopkins who are putting up 6 catches for 50 at minimum every game.
I love the room if it's Traylon, D-Hop, and NWI with Chick.
I do too. And then having Kyle as a third down threat.
You got a solid starting point.
I still don't love it, but I at least like it. And the Titans, at least at that point, wouldn't be dead last in terms of, I mean, by far, they have the worst receiver room in the NFL right now. It's not even close.
I'm not vouching, though.
Yeah,
you're not vouching. We're not going to let you vouch because that will ruin everything.
Every time Ramon vouches for a player, something bad happens.
Vouch for somebody on the Colts or something. Vouch for Trevor Lawrence.
Ramon Foster would like to vouch for Trevor Lawrence.
I have
He's going to have a great season.
He's going to have a great season.
Coming up, fourth and final hour of the show, and J.J. Watt is lying in the media again for attention. What's new? It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
9 o'clock. We're just about there from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Saints running back Alvin Kamara pled no contest to a misdemeanor charge of breach of peace for his involvement in a 2022 fight in Las Vegas, opening the door to NFL discipline. The Saints drafted Kendre Miller with the 71st overall pick in this year's draft, just in case Kamara did face suspension. Some NBA new rule changes. The NBA Board of Governors has approved 2 new gameplay changes for the 2023-24 season. An in-game penalty for flopping will result in a technical foul free throw, and a second coach's challenge will be awarded if the first challenge is successful. Tennessee's right-handed pitcher Bryce Jenkins was drafted by the New York Mets in the 17th round. It's the second consecutive draft the Mets have taken a Tennessee pitcher. They drafted Blake Tidwell in the second round of last year's draft. The Vols have had 8 players drafted. 6 of them have been pitchers. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Would you look at the time? 60 minutes remain on a Wednesday morning that has flown by. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. What trust matters, count on All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. With our whole crew in studio, he is Ramon Foster. She's Kayla Anderson. Behind the glass, there is Robert Walsh. My name is Will Bowling.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. Knew it.
615-737-1045. How you join in. If you can't see us, that's not just because of this music. Maybe it's because you don't have 104.5 The Zone TV turned on. You can join us there on the FNM Bank chat. YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch, where we are on the air.
Tell them, Will.
On a streaming experience unlike any other in the city of Nashville and beyond. We're doing it live, and we know when. J.J. Watt really annoys me more than any other athlete should annoy me. And Travis Kelce is kind of in this same category of players that if camera awareness was an attribute on Madden would be a maxed out 99 overall.
Oh, man.
J.J. Watt knows when and where a camera is. He knows how to schmooze a podcast host. And now in an interview that he did on The Green Light with Chris Long, J.J. Watt says that after his release from Houston, he considered signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers to join his brothers, TJ and Derek. However, J.J. says that he didn't want to take money away from his brother, TJ, saying TJ was also going through the contract situation there. And the last thing I was going to do was come in and take any money from his contract. I don't believe you.
Brotherly love.
Not even a little bit. Hey, JJ, buddy, if you didn't want to take away money from your brother, maybe just take a lesser contract. What a wild concept. Hey, you don't have to sign for a 4-year, $112 million extension. Yet JJ has done this thing that he likes to do. He's made something not about him about himself. And he has taken his brother's contract extension and said, well, I helped him get that by not going to be his teammate. So by association, I should be applauded as his big brother. Don't congratulate TJ on his play. No, I am the one that got it. Give me a break. This is the same guy that told Deshaun Watson, I'm so sorry we couldn't win for you, as they're walking off the field in Houston, as he peeks over his shoulder, recognize, there's a camera behind me. There's a camera behind me. Deshaun, buddy, nobody talks like that. Not as you're walking off the field. J.J. Watt, I know you're not that guy on Tuesdays, but J.J., you are not that guy, pal. You're really not.
It will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I got to give him that. I gotta give him that. Will, he is the first ballot, but your rant was epic. Though. I gotta give you that one too. Will, that was a Hall of Fame rant too.
Yeah.
But he didn't have to say that. That's essentially what it was. Like TJ was gonna get broke off regardless of the situation. Okay, TJ's a great teammate. He was one of mine, man. He's a relentless player. Golly, he's so freaking good. There was nothing that's going to stop that train. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't know if there was going to be a situation where they were going to try to sign you unless it was on a barking deal to get 3 brothers on one team. And Pittsburgh's actually, no, they hadn't done that. They had 2 brothers on 2 teams. They had 3 sets of brothers on the team at one time. If you wanted to, JJ, you could have gone to Pittsburgh. It just wouldn't have been for $112 million over 4 years.
I've always just never really liked him just for the fact that his play on the field, look, like you said, probably going to go into the hall, right?
Yeah.
However, it's like, will the real JJ please stand up? Yeah. Who in the world is JJ Watt for real? Because he could go into acting after his career. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people are going to have to listen to him on
he could be John
CBS.
Cena.
Yeah. Is he going to CBS, right? He's broadcasting.
I'm not even
I
sure.
believe he is been added to that crew.
Wow.
Correct.
And so get ready for some more acting. Because unless he learns quickly to just be himself, which I just have not seen in his career, that's what we're going to get. Those players are just hard to connect to because I think for some, like Houston fans, he is the guy, right? Like
you mean
they will
like when
always
they're
love
that
him.
big of a star?
Yeah, it's Russell Wilson kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Like, who
It
are
is.
you, Russell?
Absolutely
Who really
is.
are you?
Yeah.
To me, I think J.J. Watt will be like Alex Rodriguez on TV,
Yeah.
where every single bit of analysis he will do will be about him. Like, well, when I was in Houston and X, Y, and Z, like, we know. We watched you play in Houston.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be for him. Like, well, I would always say to my teammates, like, Alex Rodriguez will do this, like, in the middle of a playoff game in the 8th inning. He'd be like, Mariano Rivera once told me that if you go fastball, then the cutter on the out's like, buddy, like, we know you play with Mariano Rivera. Like, just talk me through this at bat. I don't care. It's not even the Yankee thing.
Yeah.
I hate it when analysts rely on their own experience, like, all the time from the playing perspective. Like, when we watched them play, like, we know that you're here because you play with Mariano Rivera. You don't have to reset it for us.
And we know your name.
And you just know JJ is going to do that.
Yeah.
And there's like some incidences where you can use an example that is warranted in that situation.
100%.
But when you're doing it like constantly, that's when I think it gets
when it becomes your
old.
crutch.
Yeah,
when
I
it
guess you
becomes
could
your
say
crutch.
that.
Yeah.
And for athletes, that's a unique part of being an athlete that's watched around the world every Sunday.
Is you can sell your experiences too.
Right.
But
But
at a
like
certain
we
point-
also watched a lot of those experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can just say, I've seen people instead of I did these things.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And there's a likable way to do it. Like sometimes there are broadcasters, when you're telling a funny story on the Manning cast
Yeah.
between Peyton and Eli, that's also a broadcast that is literally built around them telling stories. So that's a little bit of a different format.
Yeah.
We're talking more traditional play-by-play color sideline broadcasts and studio where he will be on NFL Today with CBS. But there's a likable way to do it that relates it to what is happening in front of you without just everything is me.
Yeah, when I was in North Carolina, this used to come up often when I would talk to Carolina Panther greats.
Wow.
Also, just joking. But on a more serious
Yeah, because
note.
there aren't Carolina Panther greats.
Poor Steve
Julius
Smith.
Pepper.
Steve Smith, Julius Pepper.
We got 2.
I'm exaggerating a bit.
I want to do a science experiment where we could eventually find out who Will is going to hate before he actually hates them. So I'm trying to do a Venn diagram right
That's
now
really
between
a good
J.J.
idea.
Watt, Travis Kelce, and I'm glad you brought up John Cena because he is a proponent of this too, where he will kind of make something a lot bigger than it really is in an interview. Like if he's doing like a late night hit with somebody.
Yeah.
John has a great ability to make people care about things that no one should give a rip about, like Fast 10 or whatever movie he was recently in. So I'm trying to make a list here of who Will would hate before he actually gets to hate them.
Oh,
Now,
go
I
ahead and guess.
don't know if you've got to hate Jack Harlow yet. I feel like you would hate Jack Harlow.
I don't really hate Jack Harlow.
Don't hate Jack Harlow.
I hate people that think Jack Harlow is Mac Miller.
Whoa, okay.
why?
No. Sorry. Well, Well, Mac Miller's better, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay,
sure.
yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah. No.
It's just when people make easy references where it's like, oh, he's also a white rapper, so he must have
exactly.
the same thing.
I got the ultimate one that's on his list right now, top of his list.
Who you got?
Trevor Lawrence.
No, I don't hate Trevor Lawrence.
But I think
Trevor Lawrence isn't enough of a character for me to have an opinion on one way or another. No, because Trevor doesn't have a personality.
Okay.
He's just a good quarterback that people think is elite, that is just, like, really good. But he's not elite yet.
See, I would put Trevor in there because if you look at the two first guys on this list, JJ and Travis, they both have great strong jaws, right? Trevor also has a strong jaw. I think strong jaw is the first thing you have to look for. I would also throw Christian McCaffrey in there if they made a bigger deal about his modeling success.
Yeah.
Then we would be like, we know you're sexy. You're an NFL athlete. Why the hell do we need to know you're pretty?
If he had a personality.
If he had a personality.
That's right.
So they have to be someone with a personality and sexy.
I got another one to add to the list, too.
Who you
This
got?
is a
Who
group.
else
This is a group.
Do you think
you
I
ready?
hate?
Any group of folks that mention A.J. Brown.
If they have strong jaws.
If they have strong jaws. Loose jaw people ain't got a place for
yeah.
Don't you bring that slack jaw around here.
And Tyler Dial in the F&M Bake Chat is right. Pete Alonso, baby.
I don't really hate Pete Alonso, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the
Show.
first...
The Mets aren't relevant enough for me to hate them.
There it is.
They're not.
The Mets as a whole.
Now, if we're doing Philadelphia Phillies, I used to hate Bryce Harper. I don't hate Bryce Harper anymore.
And what does Bryce Harper have?
A strong
jaw.
Strong-ass jaw, boy. Strong jaw.
No, Pete Alonso is just kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Like, he's just kind of like...
Just let Will continue to talk. He'll put him in a box
Well,
for
Pete
you.
Alonso, like, the people I hate are people who have beaten my teams at things. Pete Alonso's never beaten the Braves at anything of significance.
Well, you just punching down at this point, Will.
Well, I'm going to say a
I
name,
am punching down at the
and
Mets.
you tell me if you hate this guy or not. He plays Thor, Chris Hemsworth.
No, I love Thor. Thor is actually one of my most underrated Marvel movies.
He mentioned not Thor, Chris Hemsworth.
I don't really know anything about...
Chris Hemsworth never beat any of his teams.
D Good in the F&M Bank Chat does say, though, the intensity that Pete Alonso has for the home run derby is creepy. I 100% agree with that. Pete Alonso's cringy. I don't hate him. It's just kind of, I just cringe when he does anything.
All right, last one before we go
Russell
to break. Russell Wilson does have a strong jaw. But last one before we go to break. A recent study in the United States said, which city in America contains the strongest jawed people? Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah, I hate Memphis. 100%.
Oh, there it is. It all tied up.
Is that actually? Are you being serious?
No,
on that?
totally,
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
totally scientific.
Listen.
That study was done by
Iowa
me.
or something.
My
like the
birth
corn.
certificate says Nashville, Tennessee, so absolutely.
I don't know
I
how
hate
I didn't
Memphis.
mention Memphis.
I know.
Yeah, that's
that
number
was the
one on the
top.
list. 100%.
Yeah, I can't.
I'll
believe
give you.
Morant.
Should I give you a John Morant's? Actually, Kayla's right on that
You
one.
got a weak jaw.
I can't stand John
You got to get a
Morant.
better jaw.
That's the reason he carried
No,
around the
well,
Second Amendment.
I can't stand the attention John Morant gets.
There it is.
That's irrational, though.
There it is.
I have no good reason for that. I just get annoyed by it. I
There
just
it
see his
is.
name too much.
I could keep naming people all day, but we got to
So should I give a top 5 of people I hate the most tomorrow?
Easily.
I would be down with that. Or we could draft people that Will hates.
Oh, my God.
I think we already had an idea, though.
Oh, we have.
We did.
All right,
That might be one for the future.
Interesting. I'm really not a hateful person. Anyone who knows me,
I mean, that's true. You just have
like
your.
I would like to think I'm a nice person.
You pick sides strong.
Yeah. No, if you have an opinion, you stand on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You pick sides.
There ain't nothing wrong with hating nobody.
I love all
hate
of
is
you.
good. They say hate is the strongest emotion.
Anyone listening to the sound of my
fair,
voice
too.
right now, I'm thankful for you. I don't hate you. It's fine.
Unless you're from Memphis.
Unless you're from.
Unless I quote unquote bullied you in high school, but that's a separate conversation. Coming up, Lucas Panzica's here.
We don't hate him.
We're going to talk about, we love Lucas.
You saying Lucas got a weak jaw?
I'm not saying Lucas is
And you're
weak.
saying Buck has a strong jaw?
Oh, Buck Rising, strong
Buck got a
jawline.
good jaw.
Gosh, Buck stock just plummeted. Lucas will talk about the blockade we formed with Buck yesterday. We will set an over/under on Buck Rising. Buck Rising. The Buck Rising. So next, we'll set an over/under on when
That
Buck
strong jaw.
arrives to work today. And we'll have Lucas set that line for us. We'll all take an over/under. We'll talk a little Nashville SC with Lucas as well as they host a big one tonight and go on the road for a big one this weekend. That's coming up Here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will.
It's Ramon Foster for United Structural Systems. And if you have a wet basement or crawl space, guess what? It's time to call United Structural Systems. We've all heard about these guys for a long time and for good reasons. They've served Middle Tennessee since 1994, and they've helped thousands of satisfied residential customers in that time. And I want to tell you about one of those customers, Gloria. This was from earlier this year in January. She said, I just want to say first, hats off to the crew for their hard, excellent work. I'm very pleased with the work that they did. They did not leave any mess to be cleaned. Actually, you could not even tell they had been here. It's good, hard workers that make me love USS, and I tell everybody about their excellent customer service and work, and I thank you for the respect that your guys showed me. They were truly like a breath of fresh air. I don't know if you're like me or Gloria, okay, but it's so hard to find people that do good work inside and outside of your house. It's either the timeline, the mess they make, the inconsistencies. Just listen to what Gloria had to say and myself. You can trust what United Structural Systems is all about. And if you like her and you got some problems with your house foundation repair or just waterproofing issues, get a free estimate from the people I trust. Go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Or you can call them at 615-492-2226. Again, 615-492-2226.
Wednesday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will is powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors with Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh spinning the hits. We're joined by another 104.5 The Zone teammate. We've had a lot of co-hosts and co-workers of ours on the shows this week.
I like that.
We've got more on the way as the week continues. Lucas Panzica is here. Lucas, good morning.
Good morning, friends.
What's up?
A lot of interstation collaboration and violence this week.
That could be a wrap.
Wait, what was that?
It's a very
was
underutilized drop.
Oh, wow.
It is,
Yeah,
man.
it's hard to find the right spot for that drop.
The doctor is in.
Anytime is a good time to use that spot, man. Buck just doesn't want to give you shine. That's all that is, Lucas.
I
That's
take
all
my
it
shine
is.
anyway.
You should.
Exactly.
Absolutely
We're
should.
shining you.
Absolutely.
We got some Nashville SC we could get into this morning with Lucas.
Yeah, big game
Yes.
tonight.
Nashville takes on Philadelphia tonight. The team right behind them. And then FC Cincinnati, the team right in front of them in the race for the Supporters Shield, which is MLS's President's Cup, essentially. The regular season title, which is a big deal.
Probably means a little more, right, than
Certainly.
the President's Trophy,
Certainly.
I
Yeah.
think.
I
Yeah,
agree.
because I think you could make the argument in soccer that any trophy that you raise is a big deal.
Yeah.
More
for real?
more so than in any other sport.
Yeah.
So the background of that, Lucas, I guess, is just in domestic competitions and international competitions that basically happen simultaneously with your league, where in the rest of the world, the regular season title is the title because there are no playoffs.
Yeah. It's like Formula One, right? The end of the season,
Right.
it's just whoever's at the top of the standings, which is the most difficult thing to do in sports, right?
Yes.
To have success sustained over
Yeah.
8 to 9 months and finish at the top of a table, so to speak. So it's almost like in MLS, you have two separate competitions. You have the regular season, and the Supporters Shield goes to the winner essentially at the top of the regular season. Then you have the playoffs and MLS Cup, which is obviously a tournament knockout style finish.
Is that cursed like the President's Trophy is in the NHL?
Not necessarily.
Not as much,
Like, that's
for
a
sure.
thing,
Not
right?
nearly as much. There's
Right.
definitely kind of a stigma around the President's Trophy for sure. That you're almost wary
You don't
of
want it.
of
Look what
winning
happened
the
to Boston.
Oh my goodness, that's
Yeah,
the
right.
example,
Yeah.
right? The best regular season in NHL history,
Right.
And then they lose to the 8 seed.
Last year, LAFC became the first team to win the Supporters Shield and MLS Cup since 2011 when LA Galaxy did it. So, yeah, last year, LA won the Supporters Shield
Yeah.
and then won the whole
Yeah.
thing.
So there
it's
you go.
it's uncommon for both to
Yeah.
happen, but I don't think
It
it's
is.
considered a curse by any stretch. You want to win. A Supporter
good.
Shield is a big accomplishment for sure.
Good.
So let's start here, Lucas. For the fan that may not be a soccer fan or may not be an MLS guy, a Ramon or Kayla who have made one or two trips even.
Hey, don't
to
put
Geoda's
us on the
Park. No,
spot.
I'm saying
I
you
think
guys,
they're all in.
I'm making
messing
it.
with
I'm
you.
saying you're in, but you've
messing
both
with
been
you.
once, right?
Yeah.
What is the pitch of why they should be in Geoda's Park tonight for Philadelphia Union, in your opinion?
So it's a long season, right? 34 games, 8 months, not including the playoffs. Really long, grueling season. All the points count the same, but some weeks are more important than others.
Right.
This is a very important week for Nashville because, Will, as you know, after Saturday, the entire regular season, the league goes into a month-long break for Leagues Cup. We've been running spots for Leagues Cup. It's a new competition initiated between MLS and Liga MX, the Mexican league, of a big World Cup-style knockout tournament between the two leagues for North American supremacy, essentially. So we will not have another MLS regular season game until late August, mid-August. So Nashville plays Philadelphia Union tonight and FC Cincinnati on Saturday, both major players in the Eastern Conference race. So you're talking about going into that month-long break, having kind of set the tone and potentially having changed the dynamic of the Eastern Conference to be in a good spot when you get back for that 10-game race down the stretch. And tonight it's Philadelphia Union, the sixth-place team right now in the Eastern Conference, one of the most well-respected teams in MLS, one of the most well-respected head coaches in MLS in Jim Curtin. And I think it's going to be a really fun game, Will. I mean, you're talking about two play styles that could lead to sparks flying, so to speak. I think that's what we might have tonight with Philadelphia Union. First time they've played each other since the opener at Geoda's Park. First ever game at Geoda's Park in May of 2022. And so really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun environment.
How's Hani doing, Mukhtar?
I mean, his form just hasn't dropped.
Yeah.
He did not start last weekend, the Chicago game. He picked up a little something in training. They were, precautionary with him. He came in at halftime. Nashville on the losing end of that game, but they come back home tonight. Hani's a full go.
Okay, good.
Expect your normal Hani Mukhtar, but what he's doing really is pretty unprecedented. And there's never been back-to-back MVP winners in league history. Hani is ahead of pace on where he was last year when he won the MVP award, and he certainly is the front runner right now, leading the Golden Boot race, leads the league in goals and assists combined. So what we're seeing right now, we haven't really seen a lot in this league's history, and Hani has just been one of I mean, I think I've maintained this since the start of last season or around mid last season in MLS that Hani Mukhtar means more to Nashville Soccer Club than any other singular athlete means to a Tennessee pro sports team.
Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't.
I mean, to me, the proof is in the pudding. John Morant suspended for however many games. The Grizzlies have had winning streaks without John Morant.
Yeah,
obviously, Derrick Henry went down in 2021. What did the Titans do? They got the 1 seed in the AFC. So I truly think, and people can make arguments for Roman Yossi, for UC Saros, certainly. But to me, it's not particularly close. What Hani means for Nashville Soccer Club.
He is the third player in MLS history to record 50 goals and 30 assists over a 3-year span, and the first to do that since 2015. To me, honestly, when I talk to friends and just people that want to go check out NSC games, like that is always where I start. Is like, well, you need to go see the best player on the continent right now while he's still here. Because every time you get to go see Hani Mukhtar play, you're watching the best player in Major League Soccer until Lionel Messi starts playing later this month.
Right, undoubtedly. He's right in his prime, 28 years old. He's made his life here. He got married at Geodis Park earlier this year on his 28th birthday. He has his soccer academy that is a full go, the Mukhtar Academy. So, I mean, he's just been totally ingrained in this community. It's been really cool to see, and that has gone hand in hand with the on-field performances.
Nashville has a 6-game home winning streak. They take into tonight's game against Philadelphia Union. Their last loss at home came March 25th to FC Cincinnati, who they will play at TQL Stadium on the road this Saturday. Important 2-game stretch, like you mentioned, and just the break. So I think the other element of this, too, is that Nashville will not play a home game, I believe, until September. Because their first game back from the break is August 26th.
Oh. Wow.
So this is their first MLS home game, or their last MLS home game until September in league play. Now, they do have League's Cup.
Right.
Which will be against Colorado and against Toluca MX at the end of July, really in a week. So July 22nd when that starts. How would you break down what that will be, Lucas, and just kind of putting it in your own words of League's Cup, what this will mean to Nashville, because we've talked about on NSC Backstage, Jaleel and I have, I know you have as well, about just making that as simple as possible for fans that are unfamiliar with continental competition.
So this is a new thing. This is kind of a newly initiated competition between MLS and the Mexican League, and I'm really excited. I mean, you have competitions. CONCACAF Champions League takes the best teams from both leagues, really the best teams across North America, and puts them in this mixer of a competition that only a select few teams can get into. But this is everybody. So I am fascinated to see how this plays out and kind of how teams prioritize it, because if you're a team like Nashville, the MLS regular season and an MLS Cup title is the priority, and it should be the priority. But at the same time, I think the league really wants its teams to take this competition seriously. So I'm fascinated to see how the crowds look. It's not a part of your season ticket packages, so totally separate. You have to go to Nashville SC's website to buy tickets to these games. Coming up on July 22nd or 23rd is the first game against Colorado Rapids, and then the 27th against Toluca, both of those games happening at Geodis Park. So, I'm mostly fascinated to see kind of how Nashville prioritizes this and how much we see from Hani Mukhtar and how much of an opportunity Gary Smith gives to the likes of Mukhtar and Walker Zimmerman and Joe Willis to actually be able to take advantage of a break. And it's also another opportunity to go and chase a trophy, something Nashville hasn't done so far in its short history as an MLS team.
Strong opportunity to get it?
I think so. Absolutely. Yeah. And again, soccer is an interesting thing because there's so many competitions happening throughout the course of a year. So if teams are in a better position in one competition, they're going to value that more than another and vice versa. So, if you're pretty far down in the MLS table and and you feel like you're going to have a hard time having a crack at the playoffs, you're probably going to go all in on Leagues Cup and try and get yourself a trophy. Any season that ends in silverware can be considered a successful season. So I'm really excited at just the blend of Mexican and American soccer culture that we're going to see. That widespread blend across the country is going to be really, really cool. A lot of talent on both sides.
They give you silverware for winning stuff in soccer?
They give you a whole thing. Forks, knives, spoons.
Keep it coming.
Dang, man, I need to go play soccer. I've been using plastic since I moved to Nashville.
We're running low. I mean, I feel like in my house, our number of forks go down with every passing week.
100%.
Does that happen to other people?
Yes. Me too.
I am so glad you said that. I got blamed by Travis for the last 2 years of where did our forks go? He thought I was literally hiding forks. I said, no, this is what everybody deals with.
You're foraging forks and have a stash in your room.
Forks and socks.
Yes, forks, socks, and TV remotes all live in the same place in the universe.
But TV remotes can get lost in the couch. Socks can get lost in the laundry. Where in the world do forks go?
Down the drain.
Yeah, exactly. But where do forks go?
I don't know.
One of our greatest mysteries.
You guys, I really
they
do
get accidentally thrown in the garbage.
I think you do.
It's you'd put the thing in the plate and then you dump the plate, or it's a plastic container. You dump the whole thing and the fork gets left in there. I think that's what it is.
Okay, it's a good theory.
Ours is to-go containers, not like storage containers. It's not for go at the house. We have these square black containers. I'm just like, yo, where are they at? We
like
got
Tupperwares?
Yeah, like Tupperwares. Yeah, it's weird.
I actually read this report that what they're using in dishwashers now is actually melting the forks down, and that's where they go.
What?
Stop.
No, that's not true.
I don't believe that.
I
I don't see any scenario of that.
Oh my gosh.
So
Bert.
convincing too, bro. I want to believe you when you say stuff like this.
I know.
Make it hard,
I
man.
know.
Don't end up in a Joe Hunk box.
It's just a spoon. It's only for spoons.
The thing that's getting me now is
You snorted
Robert will say a lot of things in my ear to just keep the train on the tracks, and I have to be careful to know what Robert is saying on the air or just to me. And so at the beginning of that, I was like, wait, are you on the air right now? Oh, okay, you're on the air
right now.
Figure
Man.
it out.
Always a fine line.
Does he ever say anything in your ear, like pretending to keep the train on the tracks, but it's actually something completely misleading?
Absolutely.
I'll say anything on that teleprompter, too, by the way. So if he says something about
Burgundy?
report,
Ron Burgundy, that thing.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jason in Nashville. He's got a soccer question for us this morning. What's up, Jason?
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Morning.
Good morning to you. I was just going to say I'm a big soccer fan now, mostly because my daughter started playing soccer, and once I started, wanting my daughter to win a game or, to be rooting for my kid, I really zoned in on soccer and how the sport is played and everything like that. But my question is, I'm a big Ted Lasso fan now, and with the last season I just watched, they had this guy named Zava. Who's our Zava in the league? Or Zava in the Nashville SEC.
Lucas, you want to take this one or should I?
Yeah,
because it's pretty clear who it is.
There's not a Zava on Nashville Soccer Club, without a doubt. There has been a Zava in MLS before. He is now retired. He is Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yes, he is.
Yes, who played for LA Galaxy a couple of years, played for my AC Milan. Yes, everything you saw with Zava and Ted Lasso is a very accurate depiction of Zlatan Ibrahimovic as a player in person.
Say that again.
It is
Ibrahimovic?
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Zlatan, yeah.
He is the second I saw what Zava looked like on Ted Lasso, I was like, oh, Zlatan.
Oh, instant. It's instant, right? The man bun, the whole thing.
So here's a list of ESPN's best quotes from Zlatan's career. Number 1, I can't help but laugh at how perfect I am.
Oh my God.
Number 2, when he was asked by Arsene Wenger, former manager of Ramon, our team, Arsenal.
Yeah,
I say our team.
I'm included in this.
He was asked to try out as a teenager, and he said, Zlatan doesn't do auditions.
As a teenager.
Yeah, right. Literally was a teenager. There was one... Oh, let me find it. There was one where he said, only God knows who will go through.
Oh my.
And a reporter said, well, it's hard to ask him. And Zlatan said, you're talking to him. That was a good one. And then there was another one. So I thought he said this about L.A. I think he may have. I'm going to try to find this one about what he said about LeBron when he came to L.A. Galaxy.
I don't remember that one. I do remember his first ever appearance in the LA Galaxy locker room. Essentially, the whole team meeting Zlatan, much like the scene in Ted Lasso meetings. They're all sitting around, and he went to the middle of the room and he asked the team. I mean, this is a 38-year-old guy that should be coasting into retirement, but decides he wants to come over to MLS and dominate before he goes back to Europe. And he asked the team. The first question he asked them was, "Raise your hand if you believe in God." And most of the hands went up in the locker room. He said, "Good, then you believe in me."
Oh, no way.
The other one he had along the same lines was he was asked, Eric Cantona is a legendary player for Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, who commented that Zlatan would become the Prince of Manchester. His exact quote in response was, "I won't be the king of Manchester. I will be the god of Manchester." Because I think it was along the lines of like LA has a king and like LeBron James. Now LA has a god.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
This list is ambiguous enough that we could play a new game called "Did Zlatan say this?" or "Did Buck Rising say this?"
Oh, there we go.
Buck Rising doesn't do auditions.
Yes. That's awesome.
Is he saying all this stuff so we write a book about him?
Oh, he wrote a book. He wrote a book about him.
This?
He already wrote a book about him.
Here's another quote. Is this Buck or is this Zlatan? I don't give a bleep who wins. I'm going on vacation.
Yes.
About the 2012 Euro Championship.
No, that's Zlatan. That's definitely Zlatan.
Zlatan.
Yeah.
Or I don't use regular cat litter boxes.
Are you serious?
That
Who
one's
was
probably
this
Buck.
dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Buck?
He's got a
Zlatan was asked. So either, here you go. Either Zlatan or Buck was asked, who is the world's most beautiful woman? And they responded, I haven't met her yet, but when I do, I'll date her.
Yeah, definitely.
Buck said he had commitment issues. It's got to be him.
That's Zlatan.
That's right, Brian. We got our own Zlatan.
Oh,
He's
that's
already up
tremendous.
10-1.
His book, I Am Zlatan, is an incredible read. That's the name of the book written by Zlatan.
So
That's
to
incredible.
New
close
York's
this out,
best-selling "I Am Zlatan."
to close this out, another thing Buck would say when Zlatan retired as an AC Milan player a few weeks ago, his quote to he was booed by the away fans as he was retiring and like giving his final speech because they just gave him a mic, and he goes, "Keep booing. This is the biggest moment in your year seeing me."
Oh my gosh.
Legend.
Honestly, I respect
Unreal.
it.
Well, because he's everywhere he has been,
Yeah, right.
he has lived up to it and more.
Right,
He said he was
right.
going to come to MLS and conquer MLS. That's what he did. He didn't win anything.
Yeah, right.
It takes more than one player to do
Right.
that, but he came in and just scored at will and then went back to Milan, did the same thing, and won a title in Italy. Yeah, absolute legend.
Imagine just waking up being that good.
No. No, I can't even
Crazy.
imagine that.
Crazy. Lucas, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
The Buck
That
Rising
was
Show.
awesome,
What do you guys
man.
have
Yeah,
on,
appreciate y'all.
on the show coming up
On the
next?
Lucas Panzica
So
show.
actually, Steve Cavendish is going to be in studio. He's going
Nice.
to talk
Oh,
about
nice.
a lot of the Nashville sports issues that are impacting the mayoral race.
That's fantastic.
That is happening. That's correct. Is that y'all's first time hearing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one.
Fantastic.
And then tonight, 7 o'clock pregame, 7:30 kickoff. Nashville Soccer Club hosting Philadelphia Union at Jodas Park. Here's on the zone.
That's a
There you
good
go.
team name, too. Philadelphia Union. It
Philadelphia
goes.
Union.
It goes.
Quickly
So
on the way
Dr.
out.
Lucas.
What is
Oh my
Dr. Lucas,
gosh.
what is the over-under of Buck's arrival time today?
I'll put it at 9:58:30.
Okay.
I'm taking the under.
What are we taking?
I believe in Buck
under
today.
today.
I'll take the under because tomorrow he really has to be here early. He's coming on to do the draft.
Yeah, he's doing
with
our
us.
Thursday draft with us.
What's tomorrow's draft?
Best villains in sports.
I will let you
Ooh.
guys know every day since you've asked him to do that, he's like, okay, I'm on at 9:20 with you guys tomorrow. And I have to let him know, no, it is Thursday, the day of your event. You're coming on to plug your event.
Oh, Buck.
And he goes, you're going to have to tell me that the day
Oh,
of.
Buck.
You have to put Zlatan on the board then for that draft tomorrow.
Oh, actually, we really will. There's Lucas Panzica, 7 o'clock pregame tonight. Of course, always in the Buck Rising Show, whether Buck is here or not, Lucas always present, prompt, and here on time. Coming up, Hard Knocks. It's official. And I couldn't be less excited. Next on
Let's
K Little
go.
Will.
It's Ramon Foster for Zen Sports. And Zen Sports is the new sports book entity in Tennessee. I need to bet on me making the state name correctly. How about that? Let's put that on the book too, Zen Sports. But Zen Sports is a brand that's focused on making sports betting better today and always. And they do it in so many ways too. The cashback rewards, you get money back every single month in so many different ways too, like the welcome bonus. Earn 5% of your cash back off your bets of the first 15 days of betting on Zen Sports. The cash rewards program. Earn 3% of your betting volume back as a cash deposit to your account every month. This happens every month, as I just told you, on the first of every month. Money will be right back into your account. The referral rewards program, too. 3% of your referral betting volume back as rewards for the first 6 months of betting on Zen Sports as a cash deposit to your account, not credit, cash to your account. And it's easy to use too. Search and sort bets easily. Set favorite teams. You can easy experience possible in making or building parlays too. Withdraw within 24 hours and deposit funds instantly. Best thing about them, 24/7 customer supports. Easy to track rewards and no gimmicky promotional bets that look too good to be true but rarely are. Okay, the best sports betting book in Tennessee. So stop settling for Vegas rewards when you're right here in Tennessee. Zen Sports. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet.
Wednesday morning, wrapping up the show on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered, as always, by our friends at All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Special thanks to our teammates, Rhett, Bryan, and Lucas Panzica for stopping by. Tomorrow, we will have a familiar face with a new title, Ramon.
Yeah.
Friend of the show.
Who?
Andy Staples.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to Andy, man. It's been a while.
With On 3.
Yeah.
Andy Staples making moves in the world of college football. We will have Andy. We will have Coach Dave McGinnis.
Yep.
We will also have this is what, fourth installment of the RKW draft. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Best villains in sports.
Best villains in sports.
You missed our last one.
I know. What was it last week?
Last week, it was best names in sports. It's actually kind of sad because you would have really enjoyed that one.
Who won it?
Robert won.
Yeah, Bert did.
With over 50% of the vote, actually.
Did Marion the Barbarian make the list?
Nope.
What?
He didn't?
Who?
Oh, man.
But it
Marion
wasn't
Barber.
nicknames.
It wasn't? Oh, just
Yeah, it was
whole
like
name.
straight up names that you would just, I mean, some of them were nicknames, but regular what you would say.
Well,
they
Jim
were.
Bob Cooter had to
Yeah,
have been
no,
on
it
that.
Robert
was.
picked Jim
It
Bob
was.
Cooter.
That's a man.
That was.
I had General Booty.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had
Yes.
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Oh.
Yep.
And I had
Meta World
Peace.
Peace.
Oh, you
was your
crushed
fourth
it.
one.
You crushed it.
Kayla had
Very good.
Usain Bolt, Taco Charlton, Dick Butkus, and Peekaboo Street.
I never heard the last one.
I didn't either.
She's an all-time like great skier, American skier.
Huh.
And then I had DeColdis Crawford, Coco Crisp, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, and Pudge Rodriguez.
Solid. Bert
Solid
definitely
teams.
got that.
Yeah,
one.
Bert got that one. He earned it. The Hard Knocks season is going to be with the New York Jets. We'll get into that tomorrow. Kayla's excited. I am not.
I'm excited.
Ugh.
I
Got
don't know
many
what
reasons why.
Yeah, I
It's
can't
okay.
wait to hear him.
And it's not Aaron Rodgers. I'll just give you that.
That's good. Good tease for tomorrow. But joining us right now to wrap up the show, like we do every Wednesday morning, the one and only Inky Johnson, providing us a little bit of midweek motivation. What's going on, Inky? How are you?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
We're great.
What up, man?
Man, great to be on. Great to be on. I want to start us off with a quote, man, by the great coach Tim Corbin and Vanderbilt head baseball coach. You know, I study a lot in terms of just sports, corporations, education, ministry stuff. And he said something that was phenomenal, man. He said, culture is over time. Environment is right now. Creating the right environment that eventually drives the right culture. And so this past week, I was down in South Haven, Mississippi, right? Flew into Memphis, down in South Haven, Mississippi, at a baseball tournament with my son's team. You know, they were there, some of the best teams in the nation, getting after it. And I took down a kid that was on his team because the parents were out of town, had my daughter and my wife with me. And so my wife, I've never personally, you guys may have done it, I've never did an Airbnb, right? I've never stayed in an Airbnb. Usually when I travel, I go to a hotel, I try to get my points in because I travel often. But my wife wanted to do an Airbnb. And I'm going to be honest, me and my wife kind of don't go back and forth about things too often. But this trip, I was like, I'm not really feeling the Airbnb. But she was dead set on the Airbnb. And as my men know, as the women say, it goes, right? And so she wanted to do the Airbnb. And so I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit in my feelings, right? I was a little tight. I really didn't want to do it, right? So every single day I'm kind of moving and grooving, I'm slow motion a little bit. And my wife was really excited about this Airbnb. But the thing was, my wife and daughter wasn't going to stay the whole week. They were going back. And so that's really why I wanted to do the hotel. So when they left, me and the boys didn't have to be there at the house. But my wife wanted to do it, so we did it. My wife and daughter leaves. I take them to the airport. A day or so later, I'm there with my son and his friend. And we leave and we go get dinner one night. And we come back to the Airbnb. And when we come back, I'm getting the bags out of the car. And my son is at the door. And I hear my son literally reading something that's on the door. It's a note that's on the door. And I hear my son reading it. So I walk up and I'm like, Ink, what are you reading? And he's like, Dad, this note is on the door. And it was a note on the door, basically like, an eviction notice to the people whose house it was, right? And it was a certain amount that they wanted them to pay. And, you know, I grabbed the paper, we went in the house, and I used it as a teaching moment for the boys. But I say that to say this. You never know when God is putting you in a position to be a blessing to someone else, right? And we resist moments. We sometimes don't want to do some things because of how we may feel about it. But you never know what God is orchestrating in terms of the environment, in terms of what he's trying to get you to do, in terms of the situation or the circumstance. The amount that we paid in the Airbnb happened to be the similar amount that was on the paper that they were due in terms of the notice that was on their house. And so here I was restricting and didn't want to do it. And the whole time, me and my family staying at this Airbnb was a part of God's greater plan to be a blessing to a family that was in need, that we had no clue. And so never restrict the opportunity to be a blessing to someone. Sometimes you may know it, sometimes you may don't, but never restrict it. Go out and be great, man. That's my time. Peace.